Chapter 4108. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Did he find a saint weapon for soul defense? Sure enough, the other party went to find a way to defeat him yesterday. But so what? Lin Xian wasn't afraid. He didn't use any soul attack. Instead, he raised his finger and pointed forward. Boom! A sword chi flew out from his fingertip. It instantly cut the whip in half. Not only that, the red-robed woman was sent flying while vomiting blood. She was seriously injured by a single sword. The surrounding people were stunned. It wasn't a soul attack. Even the blue-skinned old man was stunned. What happened? Isn't the other party a soul expert? Then his other divine abilities should be very weak. How did he win in one move? How is this possible? The red-robed woman fell to the ground with blood at the corner of her mouth. Her face was extremely pale. She couldn't even stand up because of this sword. She was very scared now. Fortunately, the other party didn't kill her. Otherwise, she would have been dead by now. Damn it, I was careless. The blue-skinned old man frowned. It must be because of my carelessness that the other party won. He said, "You guys should be careful. This kid doesn't only know soul attacks." "Don't worry, Elder, we know." Another person walked out. "Can his sword chi be stronger than my meteor hammer?" It was a gorilla. He held a pair of black hammers and walked forward. Every step he took shook the heaven and earth. His cultivation had reached the middle stage of minor saint. He waved his hammers as soon as he came forward. The hammers were like two stars as they smashed down. At the same time, he had a crown on his head. Obviously, these people were invited by Immemorial City. Hence, they could continue to use soul defense weapons. But it was useless. Lin Xian didn't plan to use soul attacks anymore. He was going to use his sword skills next. He waved his arm and a sword chi pressed down like a mountain. The two meteor hammers were sent flying. A sword mark appeared on the gorilla's body, almost cutting him in half. I admit defeat. The gorilla was very decisive and admitted defeat instantly. The surrounding people were stunned. Another one lost. The blue-skinned old man's face turned ugly. How could the other party's sword be so strong? However, this was just the beginning. The third, the fourth, and the fifth one. In the following battles, Lin Xian would split the other party in half. Soon those people lost. Hu Yuan and the others were terrified once again. Their displeasure disappeared once again. What kind of joke was this? Not only was this person's soul powerful, his sword was also incomparably terrifying. Could it be that he was also a terrifying sword saint? It was the 69th person. The last time, Kuei-mo had failed at the 69th attempt. He wondered if the other party would be able to pass this time. "I think we should be able to pass." Everyone was discussing spiritedly. "Brat, you definitely won't be able to pass." A figure let out a long howl and arrived at the arena. "What? It's him." The surrounding people screamed because they had discovered that the 69 snipers were actually Kuei-mo. He was actually invited by the people of Immemorial City. Indeed, Kuei-mo had also accepted the invitation. Firstly, the price offered by the other party was too generous, which made him tempted. He didn't want to be outdone by his opponent. Yesterday, he was defeated in the 69th match, so today his opponent had to stop at the 69th match. "You finally can't take it anymore?" Lin Xian looked at the other party. "I thought you would make a move earlier. You think too highly of yourself. You think you can end me? What a joke." Lin Xian shook his head. "You're not my opponent at all. Brat, don't be too arrogant. I'll let you know my true strength." Kuei-mo had already received the crown. He wore it on his head to defend his soul. As for his opponent's sword, he was confident that he could block it. Buzz, his body was like a whirlwind, instantly arriving in front of his opponent. The law of wind on his body was extremely terrifying. As he chopped down with his palm, it was the two wind blades could tear everything apart. Even a late-stage, small saint wouldn't be able to block this attack. Everyone screamed. As expected of Kuei-mo, his strength was indeed strong. Indeed, Kuei-mo's performance had far surpassed the previous dozens of people. This battle might really be able to turn the situation around. However, as soon as his voice fell, they were stunned. Lin Xian's hand shook and a sword qi appeared, blocking the wind blade. Then, a terrifying flame erupted from the sword. The sword slashed across the sky, and endless flames surged. It was as if a fire phoenix was pressing down. With a bang, the law of wind was ignited. Kuei-mo's pupils shrank. He didn't dare to fight back. He dodged quickly. In the end, he dodged this attack. However, his hair was already charred black, and his body was also burned. Damn it! He was so angry that his body was trembling. With just one move, he was in such a sorry state. He couldn't stand it. Damn it! Storm of the 9 heavens! He waved his hands, and the law of wind filled the air, forming 2 huge dragons that roared between heaven and earth. This was a fatal blow. Buzz Lin Xian was incomparably calm. After he cultivated the 10,000 swords returned to origin, his strength was extremely powerful. Therefore, his sword was very empty and directly sent his opponent flying. Kuei-mo vomited blood and flew backwards. Half of his body was badly mutilated. Impossible. Damn it. I don't believe it. He screamed crazily. How could he be defeated so easily? He only lasted 2 moves and couldn't block it anymore. Damn it. The surrounding people were also stunned. The person in front of them was absolutely terrifying. Very quickly, Lin Xian won 70 matches in a row. There were only 2 more rounds left in the last 79 rounds, and he was about to break the record. Countless people were excited. They wanted to know how Immemorial City would deal with it. The Immemorial City, Lord's expression, was extremely ugly. The aura from his body spread out, causing the surrounding atmosphere to be extremely tense. That blue-skinned old man was also facing a great enemy. To be honest, he had messed up this time. He didn't know how the city lord would punish him. He had to make good use of the last 2 slots. After thinking about it, he gritted his teeth and said, "Young master, please make your move," he said to a palace in the distance. "Why? Is it my turn now? Those people in front are really useless. They couldn't even block a human." He had already won 79 consecutive rounds, but that was the end of his good luck. An arrogant voice resounded between heaven and earth. When the surrounding people heard this, their scalps went numb. Good luck? What a joke! Now they had admitted Lin Xian's strength. This wasn't something that could be explained by good luck. The opponent was really strong. Who would dare to say such words? Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes and looked into the distance. He could feel that the aura was that of a late small saint. It seemed like it should be an expert. A green figure walked out. He had a tail and green scales on his body. The moment he appeared, the surrounding people's blood froze. Damn it! What is this feeling? The faces of the people in Immemorial City changed. This was the suppression of bloodline. It was obvious that this person's bloodline was very high. What? It's him? The surrounding people raised their heads. When they saw the figure, they were all stunned. Even Hui Yuan and the others, including Kuei-mo, were shocked. Chapter 4109. Bai Qianqian's face turned pale when she saw this person. She even took a few steps back, because this person was her nightmare. The young master of the Green Dragon tribe was extremely powerful. He was the son of a sacred sovereign. The Green Dragon small saint was here too. Countless screams could be heard. Everyone was stunned. It had been 300 years since someone managed to achieve an 81-win streak. However, the Green Dragon small saint did it 300 years ago. No one had managed to do it after him. Who would have thought that the person who succeeded that year would be here today? The Green Dragon small saint was very powerful. He managed to achieve an 81-win streak 300 years ago. How terrifying would he be after 300 years? Perhaps not many people below the sacred sovereign realm could be his opponent now. The Green Dragon tribe? Lin Xian frowned slightly. He had killed many people from the Green Dragon tribe before. He did not expect to meet one again. He turned his head and looked at Bai Qian. He saw that she was really frightened. She even lowered her head. Forget it. I'll be a good person until the end. I'll kill this Green Dragon, small saint. Kid, your luck has come to an end. The Green Dragon, small saint, strode towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Get down here. Who allowed you to stand on my head? All geniuses had their pride. How could Lin Xian not be angry when the other party was so arrogant? You dare to scold me? Very well. You've angered me. I'll torture you to death later. The Green Dragon's small saint's eyes were filled with ferocity. He swung his tail. It was like a black heavenly blade that slashed down. The void below was shattered rapidly. It was too fast. It arrived in front of Lin Xian in an instant. Lin Xian did not dodge. Instead, he stretched out his palm and grabbed forward. It can't be. He did not use any illusion technique or sword chi. Is he going to use his physique? Is this guy's physique very strong? How is that possible? The physique of a group of soul experts would not be strong. They might even be weak. Unless he was wearing some powerful armor. Asterisk boom. Asterisk in a blink of an eye. Lin Xian grabbed the green tail. Sparks flew in all directions. Lin Xian swung his tail forcefully. Get down here. He wanted to pull the Green Dragon, small saint, down. The Green Dragon, small saint's body trembled, and he almost fell from the sky. However, he was an expert after all. Late minor saint, small saint. His name. With a furious roar, the phantom of a huge azure flood dragon appeared on its body. He charged into the sky. Lin Xian had a divine body. When he attacked with his full strength, he was truly powerful. Asterisk puff, asterisk, one of them went up while the other went down. The opposing forces caused the tail to break in an instant. Blood splattered, and scales fell to the ground. That tail, just pull it out. Green Flood Dragon, little saint, screamed crazily. His eyes turned red instantly. This pain made him feel great humiliation. Unforgivable was, I will not forgive you. The Green Dragon, small saint, swooped down from the sky. He let out a roar, and his body suddenly enlarged. He had actually transformed into his true form. It seemed like he was really angry. He wanted to use his fastest speed to get rid of his opponent. The broken tail grew out once again. He bared his fangs and brandished his claws. The surrounding void was constantly shattering. At the same time, a dragon's roar resounded from his body. At this moment, the surrounding supreme ancient race were stunned. They almost knelt on the ground. The Green Dragon, small saint, who was in the heavenly palace, was the same. His scalp went numb. His body was trembling. Isn't the Green Dragon, small saint, from the Flood Dragon race? Is he going to transform into a dragon? Then how strong was he? The surrounding people were frightened. They thought that the dragon's roar came from the Green Dragon, small saint. However, the Green Dragon, small saint's face was incomparably ugly. He could clearly sense that the dragon's roar came from his opponent. Damn it. What's the relationship between this guy and the dragon race? Just as he was in a daze, Lin Xian's sword slashed over. Instantly, a sword wound appeared on his body. Fresh blood splattered everywhere. His huge body rolled in the air. It shattered the endless void. Boom, boom, boom. His body shrunk once again. Because he was too big of a target, he couldn't dodge the sword chi. Initially, he wanted to use his original body to block the sword chi. But now, it seemed like he couldn't block it. He might as well shrink and be more agile. Both of them engaged in close combat. In the blink of an eye, the battle was over. After another earth-shattering collision, the two of them separated. Lin Xian's sword qi was torrential. On the other side, the green dragon small saint was covered in blood. There were more than 60 wounds on his body. Some of them were so deep that his bones could be seen. It could be said that he was extremely miserable. The surrounding people were going crazy. Was the green dragon small saint going to lose? Bai Qianqian raised her head and widened her eyes. She knew that Lin Xian was strong, but she didn't think that he could defeat the green dragon small saint. But now, it seemed like Lin Xian was stronger than the green dragon small saint. This gave her hope. On the other side, the blue-skinned old man's face turned ugly. Damn it, even the green dragon small saint couldn't defeat him. Then there was no hope for their side. One should know that they wanted the green dragon small saint to be the last one to fight, but the opponent was too strong. Therefore, they wanted to finish him off in the 80th round. If the green dragon small saint was defeated, the last one wouldn't be able to stop him. After 300 years, someone was going to break the record of consecutive victories again. The immemorial city, Lord's face turned gloomy. His eyes were filled with endless stars. No one knew what he was thinking. Kid, you're the first one to injure me to this extent in the past 300 years. But now that you've angered me, I'll make sure you die without a burial place. The green dragon small saint soared into the sky once again. His aura continued to spread. All sorts of laws and bloodline were intertwined. An even more terrifying energy was emitted. Could it be that he still has a trump card? Countless people became nervous once again. As his voice faded away, the green dragon's small saint's palms started to form seals. At the next moment, he slapped down with both of his palms. The green dragon transformation was a world-destroying strike. Asterisk boom. Asterisk the Jiao dragon mirage rushed down and turned into a giant dragon in the sky. It was the real dragon mirage. It was extremely terrifying. This was a fatal blow. There was still a difference between a Jiao dragon and a real dragon. Now, the green dragon small saint was going to break through this obstacle. If so, his future would be limitless. Great. The blue-skinned old man heaved a sigh of relief. No one below the Saint Realm could withstand this attack. The immemorial city, Lord's lips curled up into a smile. Lin Xian also took a deep breath when he sensed the terrifying aura. It was indeed a threat to him. He had to admit that the opponent was able to obtain consecutive victories 300 years ago. It was worth it for him to go all out. His nerves became incomparably cold. At the next moment, he activated the myriad returning sword. Streaks of sword chi encircled him one after another. He was like a peerless sword god. He raised both of his hands up high. Kill! Thousands of sword chi soared into the sky. It was as if they wanted to tear the world apart. Chapter 4110. Boom! 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 The earth-shattering sound was heard as the dazzling light engulfed everything. Everyone was excited as they did not know what the final result would be. It must be the green dragon, small saint. Was there a need to think about it? Not necessarily. I feel that the sword technique of that person is extremely terrifying. The immemorial city, Lord frowned. Could this sword chi be from the myriad sword pavilion? His heart sank. Suddenly, the sword chi became even stronger. The sword split the 9 heavens. The dragon phantom disappeared and a figure was sent flying. That person's body was split into 2. Along with it, there were also miserable cries. The green dragon small saint was defeated. He fell to the ground and screamed. The surrounding people were terrified. The person who lost was actually the green dragon small saint, and he was severely injured. It was unbelievable. What kind of sword technique was this? Bai Qianqian opened her eyes wide in disbelief. Hu Yuan and the others were terrified. They swore that they would not dare to have any thoughts of revenge. On the other side, Kuei Mo's scalp went numb when he saw the scene. He was not convinced before, but now he was completely convinced. The blue-skinned old man's face turned gloomy. His eyes were filled with killing intent. However, the immemorial city lord stood up and said in a deep voice, "Stop now!" "Stop?" The blue-skinned old man was completely stunned. He was very clear about the city lord's character. Logically speaking, the city lord should send someone even more terrifying. He might even send the blue-skinned old man to interrupt the battle. However, he did not expect the city lord to stop. What was it that made the immemorial city lord so fearful? The city lord seemed to have seen through the blue-skinned old man's thoughts. The immemorial city lord said that the myriad sword sect that he used was the ultimate technique of the myriad sword pavilion. Was he from the myriad sword pavilion? No wonder he was so powerful. The blue-skinned old man took a deep breath. At the same time, he knew why the immemorial city lord stopped. The myriad sword pavilion was a terrifying saint city. Once these sword saints were exposed, they would come in groups. No one was willing to provoke this group of sword Dao madmen. They might as well do the myriad sword pavilion a favor. On the stage, Lin Xian retracted his sword chi. He said faintly, "You're not my opponent." Now it's already the 80th round. There's only one round left. Come, I'm going to break this record. The crowd went crazy. Who would be the last person to go up? He should be even stronger than the green flood dragon little saint. Everyone guessed. However, at this moment, a figure walked out. He wore a crown and a dragon robe, and his aura was incomparable. Sensing this aura, everyone raised their heads and screamed, "Archaic City Lord!" They had never thought that the City Lord would actually come personally. There were also some people who knew that the primeval City Lord had always been there, but he had hidden his identity. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. He wondered what kind of experts the primordial City Lord would send to deal with him. The primordial City Lord glanced downwards, the stars in his eyes flickering. He said that he didn't expect such a sword Dao genius to appear 300 years later. There's no need for you to participate in the 81st battle. Currently, none of us are stronger than the green flood dragon little saint. Therefore, you won the 81st round without a fight. They won without a fight. The surrounding people screamed. This was completely different from what they had imagined. The other party had really broken the record of the past 300 years. Lin Xian's lips curled up into a smile. He cupped his fists and thanked the city lord. "All right, men, send the green flood dragon little saint away for treatment." Soon, the guards in the city escorted the green flood dragon little saint away. At this moment, the green flood dragon little saint's shattered body had already recovered. However, his expression was extremely ugly. He didn't walk too far away. Instead, he stood at the side with a gloomy expression. Suddenly, he saw a figure. It was Bai Qian. Why was she here? Moreover, she seemed to know the swordsman in front of him. Could it be that she was the one who killed his men? Thinking of this, the green flood dragon little saint's eyes instantly turned red. He crushed the jade pendant on his waist. "All right, young man, you've completed your 81-match winning streak. Now, tell me what you wish for." "My wish is very simple. I wish to borrow the super teleportation array of Primordial City and perform a teleportation." Teleportation? He didn't want any heavenly treasures or beauties. The surrounding people were in an uproar. The Primordial City Lord was also stunned. "The place you teleported to should be very far away. Where do you want to go?" Lin Xian didn't hide anything. He said, "Double Rain Planet. I want to go there immediately. I hope Senior City Lord can fulfill my wish." The news of Double Rain Planet had already spread. Countless people wanted to go there. Therefore, when he said this now, it wouldn't attract the attention of others. Sure enough, after the surrounding people heard this, they also understood. It turned out that he wanted to go to Double Rain Planet. "I heard that Double Rain Planet has been incredible recently." An incredible weapon has appeared there. Yes, he should want to try his luck. I guess he should be meeting up with his sect. Sounds of discussion could be heard. The primordial city lord also said, "All right, I can open the teleportation array for you now. Men, prepare the teleportation array." The blue-skinned old man led his men to prepare. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Bai Qian ran up to him. "Brother Wu Jian, you are really awesome. Qian, I am going to double Rain Planet. Let's part here." Lin Xian smiled. Bai Qian's eyes turned red. She was a little reluctant. "Brother Wu Jian, are you really going to leave? Why don't you take me with you?" Lin Xian said, "No, that place is a battlefield now. It is very dangerous. I might not be able to protect myself if I go there, let alone take you with me." Hearing this, Bai Qian's face darkened. At this time, countless large cracks were torn open in the sky. Arrays flickered. Then many figures walked out. Their auras were incomparably terrifying. What a terrifying aura! What a terrifying cultivation base! Song Tianya, they are the people of the Green Dragon clan. Could it be that they are here for revenge? These people were terrified. Even the primordial city lord frowned. Are they here? The Green Dragon, small saint's mouth raised into a smile. He walked out and stared at Bai Qian in front of him. "You little bitch, you actually dared to run away and kill the guards of my Green Dragon clan. Let's see where you can run to today." "What, Bai Qian? Could it be that person from Baihe's team? Isn't she married to the Green Dragon small saint? Why is she so close to that swordsman? Haven't you heard? The wedding procession had been wiped out on the way. Those small saints were all dead. Not a single one survived. It was said that they were killed by a biting cold sword chi. Wait, could it be related to that swordsman? They found out something shocking. The Green Dragon, small saint stared at Lin Xian. "You are the one who did it before, right? Very good. Damn, you dare to kill the people of my Green Dragon clan. Wash your neck clean and wait for me to torture you to death. Not good. Brother Wu Jian, leave quickly." Bai Qian's face was pale. She was very anxious. Lin Xian also frowned. It seems like there is going to be another big battle. However, if he wanted to fight, then so be it. In his life, would he be afraid of fighting? Chapter 4111. The sudden appearance of the Green Flood Dragon clan had caught everyone off guard. They knew that Lin Xian was dead meat. Following the order of the Green Flood Dragon Little Saint, the experts of the Green Flood Dragon clan rushed over. In an instant, the divine abilities of these people changed the entire heaven and earth, causing the surrounding people to tremble in fear. Lin Xian stood in the arena. He looked at the countless terrifying divine power laws with an extremely cold expression. His palms were constantly forming seals. The myriad ancestral swords had been unleashed to the extreme. One after another, sword chi swept across all directions, sweeping across everything. Suddenly, an intense collision sound could be heard. The heaven and earth were shattered. Everything could no longer be seen. A terrifying storm swept across all directions. Not good. Retreat quickly. The surrounding people retreated frantically. If they were hit by this kind of energy, even a late minor saint wouldn't be able to survive. There was no one left in the surroundings. "Humph! How dare you fight against us? You're really courting death." The experts of the Green Flood Dragon clan harumphed coldly. No matter how strong the opponent was, he was only one person. With so many of them attacking together, how could they not kill him? This was what everyone was thinking. The corner of the Green Flood Dragon Little Saint's mouth curled up into a cold smile. However, in the next moment, his body turned cold. He almost died because a hand was grabbing his neck. A figure appeared behind him. One hand was grabbing his neck, while the other hand was emitting sword chi, pressing against his head. As long as he was slightly moved, his astral soul would be destroyed. Arg! The green flood dragon, little saint, roared furiously. The energy in his body surged, and a flood dragon phantom rushed out. However, at this moment, the 5 elemental law and the yin-yang picture rushed out and shrouded him, sealing him completely. The one who made the move was Lin Xian. The sword qi he used to attack was just an illusion. His real killing move was the void elemental law. Taking advantage of the chaotic heaven and earth energy, he activated the void escape art and appeared behind the green flood dragon little saint in an instant. He knew that the green flood dragon little saint had called many experts over. It would be troublesome for him to continue fighting. He didn't want to waste time. If he could threaten the green flood dragon little saint, he would be able to hold the entire green flood dragon clan hostage. Would the green flood dragon little saint bite him? The shriek of Green Jiao, small saint, attracted the attention of everyone. When the surrounding people saw this scene, they were all dumbfounded. Oh my God, what's going on? The green dragon little saint was being held hostage? How is this possible? Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Discussions broke out one after another. The pupils of the green dragon little saint in the sky shrunk. Damn it, it's that kid. He was not dead. They discovered that not only was Lin Xian not dead, but he had also kidnapped their young master. Brat, hurry up and let go of our young master. That's right. Let go of our young master and kneel on the ground obediently. We'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, if we catch you, even death won't be easy. These people rushed down and firmly surrounded Lin Xian. Lin Xian coldly laughed. If you guys dare to make a move, I will destroy your astral soul. Damn it, how dare you? One of the old men shouted angrily. At the same time, he secretly gave a look to the other 2 old men. The 2 old men quietly formed seals. The ground shattered. 2 Jiao dragon phantoms rushed out from the ground and attacked Lin Xian. Lin Xian coldly shouted. The 9 yang divine body shone brightly. The myriad sword convergence swept across everything and shattered the 2 Jiao dragon phantoms. At the same time, it suppressed a part of the world. He laughed coldly and said, "Do you think my words are just passing wind?" Saying this, he waved the sword in his hand. Pucci, one of the green dragon little saint's arms, was chopped off. The green dragon little saint let out a blood-curdling scream. Blood splattered everywhere. This was not the end. His second arm and both legs were chopped off as well. All 4 of his limbs were broken. The crazy and miserable scream made one scalp go numb. Damn it, how dare you? No, stop it. The people of the Green Dragon clan screamed crazily. They were scared out of their wits. They did not expect that their sneak attack would not succeed. Instead, it angered the other party. They said, "Stop it, we won't touch you. Hurry up, don't hurt our young master anymore." They were really scared. As these people spoke, they quickly retreated. Lin Xian coldly snorted. "Very good. Don't worry, as long as you don't make a move, I won't kill him." Saying this, he looked at the primordial city, Lord again. "Senior, our agreement still counts, right?" The primordial city, Lord nodded. "I don't care about the grudge between you and the Green Dragon clan. Your condition is to use the teleportation array. I agree to this." "Very good." Lin Xian looked into the distance again. The blue-skinned old man flew over. He said that he was ready. "Lead the way." They flew in the direction of the super teleportation array. Of course, during this process, he brought Bai Qianqian with him because he was afraid that the other party would kidnap Bai Qianqian. Bai Qianqian's face was pale as she followed closely. Very soon, they arrived at the teleportation array. Lin Xian said, "Let's go." The 3 of them walked up. "Senior, open the array." Lin Xian said. The saints of the Green Dragon clan shouted angrily, "You've already boarded the array. Why aren't you letting go of our young master? Brat, do you want to die?" These people roared. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Don't worry, I'll let him go when it's time to teleport. The array beneath his feet was activated. The light became brighter and brighter. A huge spatial gate quickly appeared in the sky. This kind of long-distance teleportation would take a period of time to complete. Seeing that the array was about to be completely activated and completed, however, at this moment the void shattered. A terrifying palm stretched out. As soon as this aura appeared, the surrounding people all vomited blood and were sent flying. The people of the Green Dragon clan were ecstatic. The elder was here. This was not an ordinary saint, but a saint sovereign. Although he had not arrived in Immemorial City, yet he was still a saint. Although the sacred Venerate hadn't arrived in Primordial City yet, he had already launched a shocking attack across the endless void. It was too easy for a sacred Venerate to save or kill anyone. Was the sacred Venerate here? Everyone thought that Lin Xian could escape. However, the appearance of the Green Dragon clan's sacred Venerate made things complicated again. Perhaps that brat would be killed. Bai Qianqian's heart was in her throat. Was she going to die? However, when she thought of dying by Lin Xian's side, she was satisfied. Boom! The sound of an earthquake rang out. The palm had completely landed. However, soon there was a clang. The palm seemed to have been blocked by something. Everyone saw a pagoda appear. However, it disappeared in an instant, because the pagoda had been teleported away. At the last moment, a voice floated over. Since the Green Dragon clan didn't keep their word, don't blame me for being ruthless. Buzz. The spatial power disappeared. Everything was gone. Did he leave? That brat could actually survive against a sacred Venerate? The surrounding people seemed to have gone crazy. In the next moment, an old figure appeared. It was a sacred Venerate from the Green Dragon clan. The moment he appeared, he quickly attacked the void. However, it was useless. It was too late. He roared in anger. Who knew that brat? The surrounding people were so frightened that they frantically retreated. Only Huiyuan and the other two were left. The three of you know him? Huiyuan, Chuan Shui, and Dongling knelt on the ground. We don't know him. Nonsense. We clearly saw you together. There were people around who could testify. The Green Dragon clan's sacred Venerate captured the three of them and searched their souls. The three of them struggled, wanting to resist. However, they were as insignificant as ants in front of a sacred Venerate. They couldn't resist at all. Soon, the three of them's mouths twitched. They foamed the mouth and lost consciousness. The Green Dragon clan's sacred Venerate's face was cold. He waved his hand and the three of them exploded. Trash. Originally, he wanted to search their souls to find some useful information. However, the three of them didn't know who the other party was. Chapter 41:12. In the endless darkness of the universe, a ray of light flashed. Immediately after, a pagoda appeared and floated between heaven and earth. Soon, the pagoda stabilized, and three figures walked out from it. It was Lin Xian and the other two. Bai Qianqian's face was pale. She looked around blankly. Was she saved? That was the attack of a sacred master. Impossible. At this moment, the Green Dragon's small saint screamed. How could they block the attack of a sacred master? It was too inconceivable. Lin Xian snorted. Nothing is impossible. Since you Green Dragon tribe went back on your words, don't blame me for being impolite. Speaking until here, Lin Xian directly activated the heavenly secret prodigy and pulled him into the spring and autumn lock. Let him experience 10,000 years of torture and then die. 10,000 years inside was only a second outside. Soon, the Green Dragon's small saint's neck tilted and his aura disappeared. His soul was completely obliterated. Is he dead? Bai Qianqian was stunned. The nightmare in her heart had finally vanished. Brother Wu Jian, thank you. Bai Qianqian was very grateful. Lin Xian said, forget it. What do you plan to do next? Go back or? I want to follow Brother Wu Jian. Before Lin Xian could finish, Bai Qianqian quickly said her thoughts. Lin Xian sighed. Well, it seemed like this was the only way now. After confirming the direction, he flew towards Double Rain Planet. With his current distance, he could reach Double Rain Planet in 3 days. At this moment, Double Rain Planet was in chaos. The sky was shattered and laws were spreading from time to time. The earth was cracked and the people here were in a killing frenzy. Moreover, it wasn't just 1 or 2 people fighting. There were many forces and sects fighting. There were thousands of people fighting in each battle. When they attacked together, it was truly a battle that shook the heavens and earth. Double Rain Planet, which used to be countless cities, was now in ruins. Broken walls and blood were everywhere. Their target was naturally the Sacred King's weapon. However, until now, they still hadn't found where the weapon was. When Lin Xian arrived and saw the flames of war all around him, his face turned completely cold. Silently sensing, Lin Xian's pupils suddenly shrank. That was because he sensed an extremely terrifying demonic aura, as if it was going to tear the world apart. It was no wonder that these people would attack in such a frenzy. This demonic aura was much stronger than what he had seen before. Was this the weapon of the Saint King? It felt very similar to the Great Spear of Destruction. It seemed that it really was the Great Spear of Destruction. Something had changed. He turned into a streak of light. He rushed forward quickly. He had to figure out what had happened. However, when he arrived at the center of the world, he found that there were actually quite a few people around. It seemed that these people had found the general direction. However, he didn't have the heart of the realm, so he couldn't accurately aim at the location. However, this area was completely sealed off by the enemy, so Lin Xian's arrival directly alarmed those people. "Who are you?" The saint at the front raised his eyebrows and asked coldly. It was as if they would attack at the slightest disagreement. Bai Qianshan had already been placed in the black earth by Lin Xian, so he was alone and wearing a mask. Seeing these people from the sacred city eyeing him covetously, he snorted coldly and released the aura on his body. Waves of terrifying sword intent intertwined between heaven and earth. How terrifying! This was a sword saint. These people were surprised. "Are you from the 10,000 Sword Sect?" Probably only the 10,000 Sword Sect had such a terrifying sword aura. However, there were also people from the Hopeful Sword Pavilion among them. A few sword saints walked out and asked, "Who are you? Why haven't I seen you before? What's going on? Could it be that this kid isn't from the 10,000 Sword Sect?" The surrounding people were puzzled. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "You dare to question me?" He had a hint of arrogance and unruliness. Then he activated the 10,000 Sword Sect, and the aura on his body became incomparable, causing everyone's scalps to go numb. This was the 10,000 Sword Sect, the ultimate technique of the 10,000 Sword Sect. Someone screamed. Those from the 10,000 Sword Sect also narrowed their eyes. Who was this person? If the other party knew the 10,000 Sword Sect, it meant that he was definitely from the 10,000 Sword Sect. However, they had never seen or heard of a masked sword saint. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "Your status is too low. How could you know who I am? Don't you know the background of the 10,000 Sword Sect? The elders of the 10,000 Swords Sect all have secret disciples. I think you should know this." After the sword saints of the 10,000 Sword Sect heard this, their expressions changed. Indeed, other than these genius powerhouses on the surface, those terrifying experts had also secretly trained some disciples. They usually hid their strength and only showed it at critical moments. This was an extremely terrifying force. Could it be that the person in front of them was one of the secretly trained experts? Thinking of this possibility, they all nodded. The other party was unfamiliar and knew the 10,000 Sword Sect. This was the only explanation. Of course, there was a middle-aged man who was still worried. He wanted to investigate, so he took out an array and wanted to ask the holy city. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes slightly. Soon he stood there calmly. If it was somewhere else, he might really be exposed. But this was the Double Rain planet. He was the master of this world. Although his current master was still very weak, it was really too easy for him to carry out some interference. Immediately, he controlled the power of the entire world to interfere. Sure enough, the middle-aged sword saint's expression became a little serious. The array couldn't transmit messages. What was going on? The other people's expressions also changed. They checked and found that in this world, their souls seemed to be suppressed. Moreover, the receiving and sending of messages was not as smooth as before. It must be because we fought. Don't you see how damaged this world has been? Someone snorted coldly. The others also nodded. Indeed, after continuous battles, this world was already full of wounds. Why, are you still suspicious of me? Lin Xian walked over, bringing with him a biting cold aura. They didn't dare. The sword saints of the 10,000 swords sect shook their heads. They could now feel the other party's aura. It was very sharp and had surpassed them. Moreover, the other party's voice sounded very young. He might be a top expert, secretly trained. They didn't dare to offend him. So he asked, "How should I address you, senior brother?" Wu Jian. Lin Xian said this title again. Anyway, these people didn't know him. Moreover, he seemed to have fooled them. Thus, he immediately revealed this title to her. "So it's Senior Brother Wu Jian. This way, please." The sword saints of the 10,000 swords sect were very enthusiastic. They respectfully invited Lin Xian to the side. Chapter 41:13. How is it? Lin Xian asked. "Senior brother, we've already locked onto the general direction. Next, we'll investigate them one by one. However, it's not just our Myriad Swords Pavilion. Many other major powers have come. Moreover, there are some terrifying experts. It's said that the sage will appear in the end. That's the most troublesome thing." After listening, Lin Xian had a rough understanding of the situation. Fortunately, the little 8 trigrams and Great Destruction spear hadn't been discovered yet. It seemed like he wasn't too late. However, it seemed that the sage would come soon. Therefore, Lin Xian knew that he couldn't wait any longer. He said, "We'll rest today and recover our strength to the peak. Tomorrow we'll take action. We'll kill these people first." The Myriad Swords Pavilion's sword saints were very excited. With such a hidden expert helping them, they could definitely sweep away everything. Night fell. All the major powers set up camp and began to rest. The Myriad Swords Pavilion's side was exceptionally quiet. They were all madly cultivating to recover their strength. When the night passed and the sky brightened, Lin Xian opened his eyes. Without another word, he transformed into a beam of sword light and charged forward. He was rushing toward the Devil Palace's people. The Devil Palace's strength in the Dual Rain planet was also very powerful. After all, they were the ones who conquered this world. However, they hadn't found the world core. Therefore, they were unwilling to give up. They had a lot of people in the Dual Rain planet. At this moment, Lin Xian wanted to get rid of this scourge first. As he moved, the Myriad Swords Pavilion's sword saints beside him also attacked crazily. They were like streams of light, moving freely between heaven and earth. Puff, puff, puff. In an instant, the heads of those Devil Palaces saints were split open. Their bodies were chopped into pieces. All kinds of miserable shrieks didn't even have time to sound out before their corpses fell down. In the blink of an eye, dozens of Devil Palaces saints were killed. This scene immediately alarmed the Devil Palace's people. "Who dares to sneak attack us?" A Devil Palace's minor saint roared crazily. He opened his hands, and a devil phantom soared into the sky. Buzz! Endless devil law condensed, forming a black palm that descended from the sky. Heaven and earth shattered as it ruthlessly smashed toward those sword saints. The sword saints spewed out endless laws of the sword, forming one sword chi after another. When the two collided, the sound was earth-shattering. Terrifying energy swept out in all directions. The people from the other major sects also opened their eyes. Someone made a move. Retreat quickly. They frantically retreated. Were the people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion going to attack the Demon Palace? Should we make a move? Don't be in a hurry. Let's just watch and reap the spoils later. Those people came to the distant Sonfin with cold smiles on their faces. They didn't make a move. The Fiend Palace lost more than 30 saints in an instant. This made their hearts bleed. The 3 late minor saint experts who led the group gnashed their teeth in anger. Kill! Roaring, the 3 of them charged out. One of the middle-aged men condensed a demonic phantom that blotted out the sky. The other old man transformed into the body of an evil demon. His body became incomparably tall, like a towering mountain. His black pupils carried an extremely terrifying, gloomy aura. When he stomped down, it was as if 100,000 mountains were descending. The last person was a woman who used the Devil's Whip. 3 advanced stage experts, in addition to the other sages, attacked together. Their momentum was truly terrifying. Their numbers were greater than theirs. The sword saints of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion had ugly expressions. At this moment, Lin Xian let out a long roar. I'll block 2 of them. You guys deal with the rest. After saying that, he charged towards the middle-aged man and the old man. It can't be, right? He wants to fight 2 at once. The sages on the distant mountain sucked in a breath of cold air when they saw the scene. This guy is too arrogant. What is his cultivation base? Everyone looked over and was stunned. How is it possible for a minor saint expert to be an intermediate minor saint? An intermediate minor saint expert dares to challenge 2 late minor saint experts? What kind of joke is this? Even if you're a secret genius, it's impossible for you to be so terrifying. To be honest, the people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion were also shocked and worried. Buzz. Lin Xian waved his arm. The law of sword spread out. Terrifying sword chi soared into the sky, one after another. He blocked the divine ability of the 2. Why are you guys still in a daze? Hurry up and make a move. Lin Xian roared. The people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion regained their senses and sucked in a breath of cold air. Oh my God, he really did it. This is too unbelievable. Hurry up and attack. These people were incomparably excited. Without the 2 late minor saints, their pressure was greatly reduced. Next, these sword saints began to show their might. The faces of the 2 late minor saints turned extremely ugly. A puny intermediate saint dared to fight against them. He must be courting death. The middle-aged man's eyes were filled with coldness. The old devil was like a devil god. Boom. He waved his black fist, blowing it down from the sky. Endless law runes spread out, causing the chi and blood of the people in the distance to boil. They were affected even though they were so far away. One could imagine how terrifying it would be if they were hit head-on. Lin Xian's eyes were filled with incomparable coldness. He was pretending to be a member of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion, so he couldn't use some divine ability. Fortunately, his 10,000 swords returned to origin had reached a certain level. The law of sword was terrifyingly powerful, and he was a terrifying swordsman himself. Therefore, just using the sword Dao divine ability was enough to fight against everything. Buzz. The sword slashed out, colliding with the opponent's fist. Divine light spread out, as if the sun had exploded. Everyone's eyes were bleeding from the light. They quickly closed their eyes. They screamed crazily. The people of the Devil Palace around them were also affected by the impact. They kept retreating while coughing out blood. The old man retracted his arm. His face became incomparably solemn. Although the opponent's cultivation base was lower than his, the chi of the sword actually made his hair stand on end. Let me help you. Just at this moment, the middle-aged man made his move. His black hair draped over his shoulders, and his chi and blood were boiling. There was a huge black phantom behind him, as if a devil had descended. Asterisk buzz. Asterisk the devil opened his mouth, took out a devil spear, and thrust it down from the sky. In an instant the void shattered. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. The scene was abnormally terrifying. The faces of the people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion changed. They quickly dodged. Wasn't this demonic phantom too terrifying? How dare a mere devil from the heterodox Tao be so arrogant in front of me? Lin Xian laughed loudly. He held sword energy in his hand and slashed in all directions. Each of his sword strikes contained the power of the law of sword, and the 10,000 swords returned to origin. It also contained the power of the great dragon's sword soul. It could destroy everything, and it was invincible. Therefore, the attacks of the devil phantom were no threat at all. Sure enough, the black spear was split apart by the 3 strikes. The middle-aged man's face changed. Damn it! Who the hell is this person? How could he be so terrifying? Chapter 41:14. Could it be that a senior expert of the Myriad Swords Pavilion had come? The others were also alarmed. If it was Myriad Swords, they wouldn't think much of it. But a person they had never seen before was actually so powerful. Are you two only capable of this much? If that's the case, I'll send you to hell. Lin Xian's eyes flickered, and an ice-cold voice was transmitted. Damn it! You actually dared to look down on us. When the 2 experts of the Demon Palace heard those words, their complexions changed. Soon after, they took a deep breath, and gloomy light blossomed in their eyes. I don't know where you came from, but since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. That middle-aged man tore off his left arm, and then respectfully handed it to the demonic phantom behind him. The demonic phantom lowered its head, opened its mouth, and swallowed the severed arm, and started eating it. Blood flowed down from the corner of its mouth. It looked extremely sinister and strange. On the other side, the old man also bit his finger and drew 49 blood-colored runes on his mountain-like body. Those 49 blood-colored runes fused with his huge body. Immediately, boundless blood-colored radiance blossomed and formed mysterious, veined patterns one after another. Their auras increased at an astonishing speed. Sensing the scene, Lin Xian slightly furrowed his brows. He revolved his power, and the myriad swords returned to origin became even more terrifying. At this moment, his body seemed to have turned into tens of thousands of sword energies. They could tear apart everything. Boy, no matter where you come from, you recklessly challenged the 2 of us at the same time. Today you will surely die. The old man of the Demon Palace said coldly. The middle-aged man on the other side also had killing intent in his eyes. Even a dragon would have to coil around him. Kill! The 2 of them roared and quickly attacked. Terrifying demonic laws quickly spread out and rushed toward Lin Xian. They were like a tide, and nothing could stop them. Not good. The complexions of the Myriad Swords Pavilion's people changed once again. Today, your Myriad Swords Pavilion will surely die. The people in the distance were also surprised, and they shook their heads. The Demon Palace had many people, and they had the advantage here. If other people wanted to contend against them, they would have to join hands. Otherwise, they would have to wait for even more powerful holy venerables to come. Otherwise, with your current state, you wouldn't be able to defeat the Demon Palace. That guy was called Wu Jian, right? He was too arrogant. Did he think that he could look down on everything just because he had cultivated with a lord for a while? This was his first battle, and perhaps the only battle in his life. In the eyes of these people, Lin Xian was dead meat. Lin Xian coldly snorted. He circulated all kinds of power to the extreme, and the sword chi became even more resplendent. Buzz, buzz, buzz. With him as the center, terrifying sword chi swept out in all directions. Anything that got close to him was annihilated. So powerful. He actually blocked it. Countless people cried out. Countless sword shadows appeared on Lin Xian's body. He stepped on the divine sword and flew quickly. It looked very slow, but his speed was extremely fast, and every time he flew, he dodged the most fatal attacks. Then he charged towards the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man snorted coldly. Kill! The demon phantom behind him sent out demon chains that rattled between heaven and earth. The chains coiled around Lin Xian. At the same time, his other hand struck out with the demon scythe. A crescent, moon-shaped black law descended from the sky. Boom, boom, boom. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Everything was destroyed. However, Lin Xian was not afraid. He used the 10,000 swords returned to origin to the extreme, forming a sword world that enveloped the middle-aged man. Everyone could only see endless light. Soon the world disappeared. The demon phantom turned into green smoke and dissipated. The middle-aged man from the demon palace opened his eyes wide. His body was shattered and his soul was destroyed. You aren't. Before he could finish his words, he exploded. He died. His astral soul was destroyed. But before he died, he discovered a shocking secret. Relying on the demon phantom, he tore apart those sword techniques and arrived beside the middle-aged man. But when he attacked the middle-aged man's body, he discovered that there was a golden radiance on the middle-aged man's body. At that moment, he discovered that the middle-aged man was hiding something. The middle-aged man had a terrifying constitution. It was even possible that it was not a magical ability of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. That was why he wanted to warn the middle-aged man. However, his strength had already been destroyed. So he couldn't say anything in the end. Dead. A late minor saint expert died just like that. The people of the Demon Palace went crazy. The people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion were shocked. They rushed over even more crazily. These sword saints were all experts. When they joined forces, they killed the people of the Demon Palace. On the other side, 5 mid-minor saints were attacking the middle-aged woman. She couldn't spare any time to attack the middle-aged man. The 5 of them also used a sword formation. Together with the 10,000 swords returned to origin, its power was really terrifying. Lin Xian was facing the mountain-like old man. The old man's face was gloomy and cold. He was gnashing his teeth. Damn it! Did he lose his companion so easily? Impossible. It must be his companion. He was careless. This time he had to be 120% alert. Go to hell for me. His eyes were cold. He flicked a finger. The finger was like a light pillar that reached the sky. The black law on it quickly spread out. Thunder rumbled between heaven and earth. The black bone finger fell from the sky. The whole heaven and earth trembled. The power made the scalps of the people in the distance numb. Kid, it's all over now. The old man's face became pale. Obviously, he had used up all his strength to launch his ultimate attack. Kong. The black finger exploded out completely. Even though it was huge in size, its speed was unbelievably fast. Those below the Saint Realm couldn't dodge it at all. Not good. Retreat quickly. The sword saints of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion didn't dare to do anything. They retreated frantically. Someone among them exclaimed, "Senior brother, retreat quickly. We can't resist it." No, I can't retreat in time. These people's faces were pale. Ultimate attack? Lin Xian's eyes bloomed with a cold light. The next moment, the sword on his body became even more terrifying. Since it's like this, let's end it. Kill. With a roar, endless sword chi gathered in his hand, forming a huge sword. He held it and slashed it toward the sky. It collided with the black bone finger. The sky exploded in an instant, and all the people on Double Rain Planet looked in this direction. What happened? Someone is fighting. The two forces are too terrifying. Could it be that a Saint Realm expert has come? Many people were startled. Some shook their heads. That's not right. Although it's very terrifying, it hasn't broken through to the Saint Realm. It should be a peak expert below the Saint Realm. Seeing the sword Chi, could it be someone from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion? The other side should be someone from the Demon Palace. Let's go and take a look. Those people soared into the sky, one after another. As for the people present, they were completely stunned. They saw cracks suddenly appear on the black bone finger when the two forces collided. Furthermore, the cracks quickly spread. Then, with a kacha sound, the finger exploded. As for the huge sword, it became stronger and stronger. When it exploded, the sword light completely engulfed the 30,000-meter tall body of the old man. Chapter 41:15. When the sword light disappeared, the old man's body was full of sword holes. They were so densely packed that it made one's scalp go numb. With a loud thud, his huge body fell to the ground, shattering the mountains, rivers, plains, and waterfalls below. No, Elder, the saints of Devil Palace screamed crazily. Another late minor saint had died. This was too inconceivable. The middle-aged woman was terrified. Retreat quickly. She was alone now. She was no match for these people. The people of Devil Palace quickly retreated. Senior brother, do you want to chase after me? The sword saints of Myriad Sword Pavilion rushed over with stars in their eyes. They were really too excited. His strength was too strong. Why did they feel that he was not weaker than Wan Jianni? He was indeed a hidden, peerless genius. If he appeared, he would definitely be able to enter the pilgrim list. He might even be able to compete with Wan Jianni, a sword genius. Looking at those people who were fleeing like stray dogs, the corners of Lin Xian's mouth raised into a smile. There was no need to chase after them. Those people were no longer a threat. After saying that, he turned his head and looked at those people in the distance. He said, "Get rid of these people." He still wants to fight. The hearts of the people of Myriad Sword Pavilion were beating wildly. They wanted to say something, but Lin Xian had already made his move. The huge sword in his hand did not disappear. Instead, it slashed out again. Let's go and follow Senior Brother Wu Jian. The people of Myriad Sword Pavilion also rushed over, killing in all directions. Damn it, how dare you! The people who were watching the battle from afar were very shocked by the result of the battle. They did not expect that the Devil Palace, which had a lot of people, would actually escape. It was really unexpected. However, they soon screamed. The people of Myriad Sword Pavilion were actually going to attack them. Damn it! These people roared crazily and launched a counterattack. After a great battle, countless people were killed and injured. Many people had escaped, and some had been buried here forever. The Myriad Sword Pavilion also suffered losses. A few sword saints were killed, and some were injured. However, the effect they achieved was not bad. The people in the surroundings were all beaten away by them. Senior Brother Wu Jian, what should we do? We don't know the exact location. Lin Xian said, "Don't worry. It's around here. Let's search." With that said, everyone spread out to investigate again. Lin Xian, on the other hand, casually walked to a place. Others didn't know, but he did. However, he couldn't show it directly, so he kept attacking. On his 6th attempt, he finally pierced through the bottom. A black ray of light appeared. It had appeared. The people from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion immediately flew over. Looking at the cracked ground and the black light, they were all incomparably excited. There really was one. Senior brother, this is great. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. He could finally collect the great spear of destruction. Buzz, buzz, buzz! Look, what's that? The people in the distance naturally saw this scene as well. This aura was very similar to the one from before. It was the weapon of the Saint King. He appeared. Go quickly. These people had originally come to watch the battle, but on the way, they discovered such a change. They were all overjoyed and flew quickly. In addition, the eyes of those who had fled earlier were also red as they charged back. What to do? The sword saints of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion were extremely nervous. There were so many people that they couldn't fight against it all. However, if they were to leave now, they would not be willing to accept it. Go and get it. These people wanted to go down, but they were forced back. Many of them vomited blood. No, the energy was too strong. They couldn't go down at all. Lin Xian said, "I'll go down. You guys just have to deal with them here for a while. Before coming, I've already spent a lot of money to buy a batch of array formations. I can give them to you now." At this point, Lin Xian took out a storage ring. There were 36 sets of array formations inside. He had set them up when he had nothing to do, but now he was giving them to these people. He wasn't doing it to help the 10,000 Swords Pavilion, but to help himself. If he delayed these people for a while, he could calmly collect the Great Spear of Destruction. Okay, these people from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion didn't know that Lin Xian was pretending. They thought that he was really their senior brother. Therefore, they happily took it and began to set up the array formations. Everyone listened and restrained them with all their strength. They didn't have to fight them head-on. These people began to move. Lin Xian took a deep breath, turned into a sword light, and drilled into the crack below. After going down, Lin Xian activated the World Core. In an instant, he arrived in the depths of the world. This place was already enveloped by boundless demonic qi. It was abnormally terrifying. Lin Xian snorted coldly and activated his divine body. The dragon's sword soul also surrounded him. He also felt a huge pressure. Not long after, he saw an 8 trigrams furnace in front of him. There was a black spear inside, emitting an extremely terrifying aura. It was the Great Spear of Destruction. At this moment, the Great Spear of Destruction looked the same, but its power had undergone an earth-shattering change. Lin Xian was also incomparably surprised by this. However, in a flash, the Great Spear of Destruction was the heirloom of the Great Demon Clan. How could it be weak? He thought that it should be a sacred weapon. It didn't display such power before because this weapon was sealed. After all, it was the Great Demon back then. He was also very young, and his cultivation level was just that of a saint. If he had a sacred weapon back then, he would probably have been targeted by countless powerhouses. Therefore, this kind of sealed weapon would be broken bit by bit as the user's strength increased. This time, Lin Xian used the 8 trigrams furnace to refine it. It might have affected the seal. It caused a lot of seals to break, so the true power of the Great Spear of Destruction was displayed. When he arrived here, he quickly stopped the 8 trigrams furnace. The 8 trigrams furnace turned into a small 8 trigrams and flew into his glabella. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it didn't take too long, and it was not completely broken. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to subdue the Great Spear of Destruction. This was because the soul imprint he left on it was very dim. It would probably disappear completely in a few months. At that time, it would be an unparalleled, murderous weapon. Perhaps only a true Saint King would be able to subdue it. Fortunately, he still had the soul imprint on it. He just needed to strengthen the soul imprint on it. Thinking of this, Lin Xian formed a seal with his palms and moved quickly. As soon as his soul came out, the heavenly secret god eyes exploded with endless power. Lin Xian strengthened the soul imprint again. The Great Spear of Destruction also wanted to resist. After all, it was an item of the Demon Clan. Lin Xian struck out the Great Sage Tower to suppress it. This was the real Great Sage Tower. At this moment, it suppressed the demonic qi, causing the Great Spear of Destruction to be unable to resist. Just as he was in the process of collecting the Great Spear of Destruction, the people outside had already arrived. There were saints everywhere. Their eyes were red. Chapter 41:16. 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Did they find the treasure? Hurry up and hand it over. 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Do you want to monopolize it? That's impossible. These people started to kill each other. The people of 10,000 Swords Pavilion swallowed their saliva and said, "Open the formation." The 36 formations in the surroundings were activated one after another. A terrifying aura swept out in all directions. Someone must be seizing the treasure. These people were not stupid. They rushed in an instant. An earth-shattering battle broke out. Lin Xian frowned slightly when he sensed the fluctuations from above. There were too many people here. The formations he gave were not enough. Thinking of this, he began to use the power of this world to suppress them. However, he found that the power of this world was much weaker than before. Could it be that the power was absorbed by the Spear of Destruction and used to break the seal? That made sense. It was said that in ancient times, there were super experts who used the power of several worlds as the price to nourish a weapon. There were even some terrifying ones that involved more than 10 worlds. When the weapon was formed, those worlds would be turned into ashes. That method was really terrifying. Lin Xian guessed that if he left it for a few more decades, the twin rain star would be completely shattered and its power would be sucked dry. Due to the influence of the power of the world, the people outside were in chaos. At this moment, there were lightning tribulations in the sky that struck down. The battle had completely erupted. Many people of 10,000 Swords Pavilion vomited blood. However, they also resisted with bloodshot eyes. However, at this moment, a saber light slashed down with an extremely terrifying aura. The formations in the sky were opened. Not good, quickly retreat. When the people of 10,000 Swords Pavilion saw this scene, they frantically retreated. 5 of them did not retreat in time and were instantly turned into blood mist. The remaining people felt their scalps go numb. A sacred venerable made a move. Finally, a sacred venerable came? That's great. The people of the Demon Palace were ecstatic. The one who made a move was their elder. Quickly make a move. They were seizing the treasure below. Another saber light fell from the sky and covered the ground. The ground cracked and sank, destroying everything. No, Senior Brother Wu Jian and the people of 10,000 Swords Pavilion screamed. This attack was too powerful. No matter how strong Wu Jian was, he would not be able to block it. Boom! Boom! In fact, Lin Xian had already felt it when the first saber light descended. Is the Lord here? He was a little anxious because he was so close to being able to take away the Great Destruction Spear. Initially, he thought that he could hold on for a while longer. However, the appearance of the Sacred Master had pushed everyone away. Those saints did not dare to go against him. The second blade light slashed down. Lin Xian's face turned gloomy. Just a little more. He steeled himself and activated the Great Sage Pagoda to defend himself. With a clang, the great holy tower rolled over. Lin Xian spat out a mouthful of blood, but he smiled. He had finally succeeded. At this moment, his soul imprint was imprinted on it. With a wave of his hand, the Great Destruction Spear turned into a jet black light that entered his sleeve. In the next moment, he activated the Void Escape and steamed away. Boom! Boom! Everything around him shattered and sank. The rumor lasted for a long time before it slowly disappeared. The Holy Venerate from the Fiend Palace made a grabbing motion with his hand, and all the ruins were torn apart. In the next moment, he saw blood filling the air. However, there was no trace of a person. The people from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion were also frantically searching. Senior Apprentice Brother Wu Jian? They did not find him. A person's voice trembled. Could it be that his astral soul had already been destroyed? No way. The other people also sucked in a mouthful of cold air. Such a powerful swordsman had been killed. Just like that? The people from the Fiend Palace sneered. This is the consequence of daring to go against us. In their opinion, no matter how powerful the other party was, he would not be able to stop them. Everyone thought that Lin Xian had already been killed. However, Lin Xian walked out from the other side of the world. The mask on his body had also disappeared. The corners of his mouth rose into a smile. His figure flickered, and he found a safe place to enter seclusion. The reason for that was because he wanted to strengthen his soul imprint again. After all, the current Great Destruction Spear was too powerful. If he was not careful in nurturing it, he might even be injured. While he was in seclusion, holy venerates arrived one after another. They joined hands and suppressed the entire world. At this moment, many people retreated. They only dared to watch quietly. Were those little saints also the first batch? They were high and mighty before. However, compared to the holy venerates, they were insignificant. A holy venerate could sweep away everything. Nothing. The holy venerate of the Fiend Palace searched frantically. He discovered that not only had the person disappeared, but the weapon had also disappeared. This made his expression become very unsightly. Some people guessed that the weapon might have been destroyed. What kind of joke was this? If it was a weapon that could be easily destroyed by a holy venerate, would there be a need to be so frantic? Everyone shook their heads. That meant that the weapon had been snatched away by someone. Who was it? Was it Wu Jian? Impossible. He was only a middle-stage little saint. He did not have such heaven-defying methods. I guess there should be other experts hiding and secretly taking it away. Buzz! Right at this moment, a sword light split the world. It carried a black aura. It was incomparably terrifying. It was the Dark Sword Master. The surviving saints of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion rushed forward. We pay our respects to the Dark Sword Master. They were very excited. The Dark Sword Master said, "Where is the item? Many of our people have been killed. The item has also disappeared. They are all from the Fiend Palace. It's them. If it wasn't for them, the item would have been in their hands." These people's eyes were bloodshot. The Dark Sword Master snorted coldly. "Do you all want to die?" He slashed out with his sword. The dark sword technique pervaded heaven and earth. The entire sky darkened completely. The crowd seemed to have been deprived of their vision. Not good. They screamed frantically. Fortunately, the Dark Sword Master was attacking the Fiend Palace. The holy venerate of the Fiend Palace shouted angrily, "Do you think I'm afraid of you?" The two of them started fighting a world-shaking battle. Just the aftermath of their battle had torn many people from the Fiend Palace into pieces. The people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion also rushed forward crazily. Prepare to die. The two sides started fighting again. The battle shook heaven and earth. This lasted for a total of 10 days. The battle was very bitter. A group of experts from the Fiend Palace had died. Several sword saints from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion had died. Even the two holy venerates were injured. The body of the holy venerate was split open. His internal organs flowed out. On the other side, several bloody holes appeared on the body of the Dark Sword Master. It was a ghastly sight. These wounds were extremely terrifying. There were remnants of the laws on them. They were difficult to erase in a short period of time. Both sides were miserable. They could only stop fighting. The Dark Sword Master brought the remaining people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion and left. After descending, he asked in detail what had happened. Chapter 41:17. The people of Myriad Swords Pavilion gritted their teeth and said, "Senior Brother Wu Jian was dead, and the weapon was nowhere to be found." Dark Sword Master frowned as he healed himself. "Wu Jian? Who is that? Why haven't I heard of this name before?" Senior Brother Wu Jian was nurtured by a sacred sovereign. "He is the foundation of our Myriad Swords Pavilion," a sword saint said. The Dark Sword Master furrowed his brows tightly after hearing this. He naturally knew about the foundation of a sect. However, he had never heard of Wu Jian. "Forget it. I'll ask the others when they come." Dark Sword Master closed his eyes and started to heal himself. Following that, the other sacred sovereigns started to have conflicts. They searched for the weapon all over the world. In the end, they joined hands and sealed the entire world. They were only allowed to enter and not leave. Even if they had to turn the world upside down, they had to find the weapon. Experts from Myriad Swords Pavilion had arrived. This time, Wan Jinni and another sword reverend came as well. There were also quite a number of late little saints who had come. It seemed like they were determined to get the weapon this time. After arriving, they met up with Dark Sword Master and the others. Dark Sword Master asked if they knew a person called Wu Jian. Those people were puzzled. We don't have such a person in Myriad Swords Pavilion. No one. Dark Sword Master frowned. Those injured people from Myriad Swords Pavilion screamed. Impossible. Senior brother Wu Jian is very powerful. Could it be that we were cheated? Some people frowned. Someone had pretended to be a member of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion in order to intimidate others and then reap the benefits. When they thought of this, their faces turned cold. Impossible. Those people were dumbfounded. We had our suspicions before. However, he really knows the Myriad Sword sect. Other than Myriad Swords Pavilion, who else knows the Myriad Sword sect? The moment these words came out, the faces of the two sacred sovereigns turned gloomy. A mysterious person knows the Myriad Sword sect. Damn it. This matter must be investigated thoroughly. It seemed like other than searching for the weapon, they were also searching for a person called Wu Jian. In the Great Sage Tower, Lin Xian opened his eyes. He felt that it was about time, so he prepared to leave. When he and Bai Qian came out, they found that their surroundings had changed. The aura of the entire world was very oppressive. Bai Qian's face was filled with fear. This was the aura of a saint, and there was more than one of them. This world was sealed. Lin Xian also frowned. It seemed like these people would not give up until they found the treasure. He turned into a stream of light and brought Bai Qian along as he charged into the sky. The void shattered endlessly. However, at this moment, a massive sealing power pressed down on him, bouncing him back. Lin Xian frowned. This seal was very strong. Furthermore, it was not set up by one holy venerate, but by at least 4 holy venerates working together. If he wanted to blast it open, he would have to use the great dragon sword soul with all his strength. Moreover, he would also need to accumulate power for a period of time. He would definitely be discovered. In fact, he had already been discovered. Countless figures gathered in this direction. Who was it that wanted to leave? It was too suspicious. They wanted to capture him and ask him. Humph! Lin Xian coldly snorted. Boundless sword qi intertwined to form a mask on his face. At the same time, terrifying sword qi swept in all directions. Do you want to die when the 10,000 Swords Pavilion is handling this matter? What a terrifying sword qi! He was a top genius of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Some people were shocked when they saw the scene. There were also some people who were puzzled. One person screamed, "Could it be that you are that Wu Jian? Are you not dead?" It was too unbelievable. That was a Saint Venerate's / back then, but he was still alive. Lin Xian frowned. It seemed that he had been recognized. But so what? He said coldly, "Since you know who I am, hurry up and get lost. Those who block me will die." Kid, although you are a sword Dao genius, so what? This time it's not just one holy venerate, but a joint effort. You can forget about leaving. Someone sneered. The news quickly spread. Coincidentally, Wan Jinni and the others were nearby. When he received the news, he was instantly stunned. Do you think that suspicious person has appeared? Follow me. He led the people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion and turned into an endless stream of light, rushing into the distance. When Lin Xian saw that these people were unwilling to back down, he prepared to charge out forcefully. However, at this moment, the void shattered. Countless sword lights slashed out and surrounded the surroundings. Kid, it's really you. A cold voice was heard. The people around felt their scalps tingle. It was the people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Immediately, Someone cupped his fist and said, "We are not targeting the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. It's just the rules. We hope that the 10,000 Swords Pavilion can understand." Wan Jinny turned his head and said, "You didn't let him go. Very good. I am very grateful to you, because this person is not from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion." What? The surrounding martial artists of the sacred city were stunned when they heard this. Not from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion? What's going on this time? Wan Jinny did not explain. Instead, he said, "Everyone, the 10,000 Swords Pavilion needs to deal with some matters. I hope that you can leave." Those people quickly retreated after hearing this. They pushed far away, but did not leave because this matter was too strange. They had to figure it out. Lin Xian frowned. Was I exposed? Thinking that, since Wan Jinny was here, the other experts should be here too. Perhaps they already knew that he was not here. But so what? Now that his strength had increased greatly, he was no longer afraid of Wan Jinny. As long as he did not expose his identity as Lin Xian, it would be fine. Let them suspect me. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "You dare to suspect me?" Wan Jinny said, "Kid, stop pretending. You can't hide anything in front of me." "Is that so?" Lin Xian took a step forward. The aura on his body became unparalleled. He activated the 10,000 swords returned to origin. All the sword chi in the 9 heavens and 10 earths moved towards him as if they were going to submit to him. The 10,000 swords returned to origin. Countless people screamed. Wan Jinny's pupils shrank. He had heard of this before, but he was still shocked when he saw it with his own eyes. Has the 10,000 Swords Pavilion's secret technique been leaked out? "Who are you?" he said coldly. Lin Xian sneered. "I told you. I am a genius secretly nurtured by the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. You don't have the right to know. If you want to know, ask the Saint King of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion." "Humph, nonsense." Wan Jinny snorted. A small saint behind him said, "Stop talking nonsense with him. Capture him. We can't let the 10,000 swords return to origin spread out." The surrounding sword saints all surrounded him. The terrifying aura caused the heaven and earth to freeze. Not good. Bai Qianshan's face turned pale. This scene was even more terrifying than when the green flood dragon race surrounded him in Immemorial City. Lin Xian smiled. "Why? Do you want to fight me? Aren't you afraid that you will be punished when you return?" Then he looked at Wan Jinny. "I heard that you are a sword genius, but now that I have appeared, you can give me this title. If you are not convinced, you can fight me one-on-one." Chapter 41:18. Don't listen to him. This brat is just trying to stall for time. The surrounding sword saints felt a chill run down their spine. Wan Jinny waved his hand. "Don't worry, I'll give him a chance. Don't make a move. I'll take him down personally." "Brat, do you think you have the right to escape after a one-on-one battle? You're too naive. I'll take off your mask personally and let you die knowing why." As he spoke, the law on his body erupted. The surrounding sword saints quickly retreated when they saw the scene. However, they didn't disperse. They had to prevent the other party from escaping. Lin Xian sent Bai Qianshan back to the black soil again. Then he turned his head and stared at Wan Jinny. In the next moment, a cold light burst out from his eyes. The battle had finally arrived. Moreover, he could compete with the other party openly with his sword skills. This made him extremely excited. The people in the distance were also screaming. Are the two sword geniuses going to have an intense collision? They really didn't know who would be stronger. They were all excited. Watching carefully, there were 2 swords in front of them. They bloomed and swept across the 9 heavens. When the 2 collided, they were like 2 peerless divine swords. They let out an earth-shattering sound, and endless sword light swept across the surroundings. The surrounding people's ears were bleeding. Boom! Boom! After the first exchange, the two of them continued to attack. After more than 100 exchanges, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Wan Jinni was shocked. He didn't expect the other party to really know myriad returning swords. Moreover, it didn't seem to be any weaker than him. It was really unbelievable. Who is this person? Who is pretending to be him? A trace of killing intent appeared in his eyes. This was a peerless enemy. He had to get rid of him. Otherwise, he would be a very dangerous enemy in the future. Thinking of this, he decided to use other means. Previously, it was only the collision of myriad returning swords. Now he was going to use other sword Dao laws. Starlight Law. The sword Qi trembled. Like starlight, it quickly spread out and swept towards Lin Xian. Each of these starlights could penetrate a late-stage, small saint. With so many starlights falling together, it could easily destroy everything. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He didn't use other laws. He only used the sword Dao to fight. His sword was incomparably sharp, pressing forward courageously. It was as if he and his sword alone could destroy all laws and great Daos. Sure enough, as Lin Xian brandished the starlight nomological laws, they kept shattering and dimming. In the end, the starlight nomological laws weren't extinguished. Lin Xian quickly arrived in front of Wan Jinni and slashed down. With a bang, Wan Jinni was blasted back. His entire arm was numb. The blood and qi in his body roiled, and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Whoa! Lightning sword technique. Boundless lightning appeared on Wan Jinni's body. The sword qi became incomparably violent, capable of destroying everything. His strength had increased during this period of time. Xiao Chen was unrivaled under a holy venerate. He was even confident of blocking a few moves from a holy venerate. Therefore, at this moment, he did not care about Wu Jian at all. However, the more he fought, the more shocked he became. His opponent's strength had completely exceeded his expectations. Lightning sword art. 3,000 lightning haste. Endless lightning sword qi surged, and the whole world trembled. The surrounding people frantically retreated. It was too terrifying. It was as if this sword could destroy a world. The spectators were pushed thousands of miles away. Even so, they were covered in cold sweat, and their bodies trembled uncontrollably. It's over. That Wu Jian is definitely dead. Under such a powerful lightning sword technique, no one could survive, unless a holy venerate came. Lin Xian looked dignified. He had to admit that Wan Jinni was really strong. Especially during this period of time, his cultivation had increased again. Not many people under a holy venerate could block this sword qi. However, he was confident. He took a deep breath. The 10,000 swords converged, and the sword nomological laws continued to operate. The power of the great dragon, Sword Soul, also surged out. He slashed out with a sword. Wang! The sword swept across the sky. It stirred up the wind and clouds, and the surrounding people trembled again. What a terrifying sword qi! Was this Wu Jian also so terrifying? Even Wan Jinni's pupils shrank. He involuntarily took a step back. The sudden burst of power from the sword shocked him greatly. Damn it! Can his opponent's strength still increase? I don't believe it. He shouted angrily. Those lightning swords became even more terrifying. Boom! Boom! It was as if a great apocalypse had happened. The sky fell and the earth cracked. A huge crack appeared in the void, spreading to both sides. It was as if the world was split into two halves by the attack of the two. At this moment, the people on the double rain planet were shocked. Who was fighting? It was too terrifying. Not good. Retreat quickly. The mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. Many people knelt on the ground and kept worshipping. More people screamed in horror. Even those holy venerates opened their eyes one after another. The expressions of the two holy venerates from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion changed. This aura was from two top swordsmen fighting. One of them was Wan Jinny's, and the other was very unfamiliar. However, they felt that it seemed to have the aura of the 10,000 swords converged. What was going on? The two of them looked at each other and thought of a name. Could it be that the person called Wu Jian had come? Did he not die? Let's go. The two of them urgently wanted to catch each other. At this moment, except for them, the others also rushed into the distance. They wanted to know, who was fighting? Why was there a battle? Did they find the Sage King weapon? Endless sword chi rumbled in the sky. Then the two figures retreated. Wan Jinny's face was extremely cold. On the other side, Lin Xian laughed. You're just S.O. You keep saying that you want to kill me. I'm afraid you can't do it. Damn it. Wan Jinny's face was ugly. The surrounding people from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion were stunned. How could this be? The other party could actually fight with Wan Jinny. This was unbelievable. How strong was this person? Kid, don't be too proud. I still have some tricks up my sleeve. Wan Jinny was unhappy. He must take down the other party. However, at this moment, two terrifying figures descended from the void. Don't talk nonsense with him. Catch him. I have something to ask him. Yes, collect his soul. The two holy venerates descended. Their powerful aura covered everything. Not good. The surrounding people were instantly sent flying 30 million miles away. They looked terrified. Lin Xian's face changed. Are the holy venerates here? Wan Jinny, you're in luck today. Your holy venerate is here. Otherwise, you would have died today. Lin Xian's body flashed. He wanted to leave. Do you think you can escape from our hands? The dark sword lord sneered. He waved his sword. The entire sky darkened. It was as though all the light in the world had been taken away. The other person was called the Heaven-Opening Sword Lord. With a sword, the endless sky split open. It was as though he was going to swallow Lin Xian. When the two holy venerates attacked, they were extremely powerful. No one could escape at all. Lin Xian's face changed. They were indeed holy venerates. They were too strong. If he was in other places, he wouldn't be able to escape. He could only hide in the great sage tower. However, it was different here. He was the master of this world. He was here with the buffs of the world. Endless power of the world surged in. Void escape. Chapter 40, 119. In an instant, he activated the void escape technique to the extreme and disappeared into the void. Following that, two sword lights slashed down, causing the world to tremble. The destruction of this world was even more terrifying. However, the two Saint Sovereigns' faces were ugly. The other party had actually disappeared without a trace. It was like a slap to their faces. One should know that the two of them were Saint Sovereigns. When they attacked, the other Saint Sovereigns wouldn't be able to escape. But now, a minor saint had actually escaped from their hands. It really made them lose face. Dark Saint Sovereign stood up and said coldly, "All disciples of Myriad Sword Pavilion, listen up. Search for Wu Jian and kill him without mercy." The moment the order was given, the people of Myriad Sword Pavilion were stunned. Even Wan Jinny was stunned. His mind was in a daze. What's going on? The other party escaped? Impossible. He would definitely die if the two Saint Sovereigns attacked. How could the other party escape? The people in the distance also sucked in a cold breath. Who exactly is this person? Why aren't you moving? Dark Saint Sovereign snorted when he saw this scene. Wan Jinny and the rest quickly searched for Wu Jian. This time it was really spectacular. Countless sword saints of Myriad Sword Pavilion began to sweep through this world crazily. They definitely wouldn't let go of any possibility. On the other side, Lin Xian used the void escape technique and world energy to leave this place. However, his expression didn't ease up, because through this world, He could clearly sense that the people of Myriad's sword pavilion were frantically searching for him. With this speed, they would soon receive his message. Damn these people. Do they really think that he's a pushover? Bai Qianqian was also worried. Brother Wu Jian, what should we do? Qianqian, stay inside and don't come out. Leave the rest to me. Competing in numbers? Lin Xian's face was gloomy. Then, let's see who called for more people. Lin Xian took out a Heavenly Devil order and crushed it, sending the message out. Heavenly Devil Domain. At this moment, the people of Heavenly Devil Clan all stood up. Their eyes were filled with terrifying light. Old Ancestor is summoning us. Quickly, go to the general appointment platform. The Protector is about to appoint a general. These experts of the Sky Devil race turned into shadows and charged forward in a dense crowd. Double Rain Star. Everyone was in fear. Myriad Sword Pavilion seemed to have gone crazy. The others were trembling in fear. With so many sword saints moving together, no one dared to resist at this time. We've checked the north, but there's nothing there. We've checked in the west, but there's nothing there. Only the south and east were left. Let's go to the south first, then to the east. I don't believe that he can escape. These people moved out in a frenzy. At the same time, in the east, Lin Xian opened his eyes. In the next moment, a purple vortex appeared in the void above his head, and silhouettes emerged from it. This scene was so terrifying that everyone in the world saw it. What was that? Did someone come in again? Someone had broken the seal. These people were screaming crazily. Those from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion were originally flying toward the south, but when they saw the abnormal phenomenon in the eastern sky, they immediately came to a halt. Let's go to the east. There's a situation there. Under the leadership of the two Holy Venerates, these people attacked crazily. Double Rain Planet, east. The 3,000 devilish figures landed and looked at Lin Xian, who knelt down on one knee to offer greetings to the Patriarch. Get up! Lin Xian's eyes were also filled with pride and coldness. It was as if he had truly turned into a demon god. Get up and follow me to kill the enemy. The 3,000 heavenly demons had already appeared. Lin Xian was going to play a big game today. Not only was he going to hunt down the 10,000 Swords Pavilion, but he was also going to uproot all the forces on Double Rain Planet. This was his world and no one could touch it. Buzz. They swore to follow the Patriarch to death. The 3,000 heavenly demons stood up. Each of them was exuding a monstrous demonic aura. Even Lin Xian's body was stained with a layer of terrifying aura. Let's go. He took the lead and rushed out. The 3,000 devilish figures followed behind him. These people were mighty, moving freely between heaven and earth. Not long after, they stopped because they found a team. This team was not from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion, but from the Fiend Palace. The Fiend Planet was relatively close to this place, so there were many people from the Fiend Palace on it. At this moment, there were people from all 4 continents. The Eastern Continent was supporting this team. When they saw the strange phenomenon in the eastern sky, they naturally came to investigate. The next moment, they were scared out of their wits. They saw 3,000 heavenly demons standing in the sky. Each of them had a terrifying aura. There was no lack of minor saint among them, and there were even existences above the minor saint realm. That aura almost scared them to death. Why are there so many heavenly demons here? They were shocked. Lin Xian looked at the Fiend Palace. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. I'll start with you guys. Kill. With a wave of his hand, the 3,000 heavenly demons behind him roared and rushed out with terrifying devil, Dao divine abilities. Their demonic aura blotted out the sky. Damn it! The people from the Fiend Palace also launched a frenzied counterattack. Phantoms of devils swept across the 9 heavens. However, there were only about 100 of them. How could they be a match for 3,000 heavenly demons? In an instant, they were enveloped by endless devil light. Ah, Blood filled the air, and miserable cries rang out. It was a hellish scene. Among them, there were 10 late minor saints. They were roaring crazily. "Damn it! Why are you heavenly demons attacking me?" The 10 late minor saints were on the verge of tears. They had never provoked the fiend palace, right? The one leading them was a young man. He was wearing a devil armor and holding a long spear. Looking at Lin Xian, he roared crazily, "Just you wait. My fiend palace will never let this matter rest. Do you think you can still go back and report this to the fiend palace?" Lin Xian snorted coldly. These people had occupied his world for so long, and now they had broken his world into pieces. How could he let these people leave? He would use the blood of these people to repair his world. When he thought of this, he waved his finger and a sword chi shot out. The sword chi was like an azure dragon. With a roar, it suddenly enlarged and danced in the sky. The sky fell and the earth cracked. In front of him, the expression of the minor saint wearing devil armor changed instantly. It was too strong. It was beyond his expectation. Retreat! He retreated crazily. However, it was too late. The azure dragon sword arrived in front of him in an instant. He opened his mouth and spat out a black mountain. There was a devil face on the mountain. It opened its mouth and spat out a black light blade. It wanted to block the azure dragon's sword chi. The mountain was 80,000 feet tall. The black wind blade could destroy everything. However, it was ineffective at this moment. With a loud clang, the 80,000 feet tall mountain was split apart by the sword chi. How is this possible? The minor saint's face was pale. His eyes were filled with despair. In the next moment, he was shrouded by the sword chi. The devil armor on his body was shattered, and his body was torn apart. "Ah, run!" His soul escaped from his broken body, screaming crazily. The other 9 minor saints wanted to resist, but they were scared out of their wits when they saw the scene. This minor saint was the strongest among them. He couldn't even block a sword chi. How could the others resist? Chapter 41:20. Run. Every single one of them would escape. The remaining experts of the Devil Palace fled in all directions. Lin Xian retracted his hand and said coldly, "Leave no one alive." Yes, 3,000 heavenly demons moved out. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of Devil Palace saints were killed. The small saint's astral soul was also destroyed. Endless saint blood sprinkled between heaven and earth. The scene was extremely tragic. Lin Xian used the power of his world to wrap the sage blood and extract the energy within to repair the world. At this moment, the sound of air being torn apart could be heard from all directions. They were people who came from other places. They wanted to see what the strange phenomenon in the east was. When they arrived, they happened to see the last scene. That terrifying scene made their scalps tingle. Buzz! The 3,000 heavenly demons were stained with blood in the void. Their gazes were few and far between. The hearts of the people in the surroundings beat wildly. Heavenly demon race. Damn it! It's 3,000 heavenly demons. Why are there so many experts? The people who came kept retreating. They even said, "We don't mean to offend you. We'll leave now." They flew into the distance, like crazy. Buzz! At this moment, countless sword chi flashed in the sky, tearing the void apart and transforming into figures nearby. They were the people of the Myriad Sword Pavilion. The people who originally wanted to retreat stopped and revealed strange expressions. 10,000 Swords Pavilion. If these fitness centers were to join forces, they would be an extremely terrifying force. Who knew what would happen next? They were all prepared to watch. After the people of the Myriad Sword Pavilion arrived, they looked at the 3,000 heavenly demons and frowned. Why are there so many people? Moreover, they were the people of the heavenly demon race. It wasn't the Wu Jian they were looking for. It's you. Wan Jian's pupils shrank when he saw a figure. he exclaimed in surprise. Dark Sword Master asked, "What's going on? Did you find that person?" Wan Jinny's expression changed. He said no, but he found another familiar person. He pointed to the front, and everyone's gazes followed. Further ahead, among the countless heavenly demons, there was a person. Although he was also surrounded by black energy, there was a golden light flickering around him. He was completely different from the 3,000 heavenly demons. Lin Wudy. Wan Jinny gritted his teeth and roared. The others' faces also changed. Lin Wudy. They looked at him carefully. Some people sucked in a breath of cold air. It really was him. It was Lin Wudy again. He hadn't come out for a long time. Who would have thought that the moment he appeared, he would stir up another storm? How could he mobilize so many Sky Devil race experts? He didn't know, but it seemed like the Heaven Devil race had been helping him since the beginning. Sounds of exclamations and discussions could be heard. "Oh my, Wan Jinny, long time no see." Lin Xian walked up and smiled faintly. "I thought you would hide in seclusion and not dare to come out. Do you think I'm afraid of you? What a joke." Wan Jinny snorted coldly. Lin Xian said, "Aren't you afraid?" "Yu Quan, Mo Xiu has already been defeated. It's your turn next. Don't compare me to those two trash. Just because you defeated them doesn't mean you can beat me. If you don't believe me, you can try." That was exactly what he was thinking. Lin Xian walked out. Previously, he had exchanged blows with Wan Jinny. However, that was a fair fight. He wasn't weaker than the other party. If those two Saint Venerables had not come, he could have seriously injured the other party or even killed him. Now, he wanted to use other techniques. It would be best if he could find a chance to kill this Wan Jinny. On the other side, Wan Jinny also wanted to use this opportunity to kill Lin Xian. After all, he was indeed frightened by the other party's growth. Boom! Boom! He instantly activated sect origin swords. Terrifying sword chi swept out like seawater. The surrounding people also retreated. Darkness, Saint Venerable, looked at this scene. He waved his hand and pushed them far away. If it was before, they would have disregarded everything and attacked directly. However, they couldn't do it now. There were 3,000 Sky Devils on the other side. There must be Saint Venerables among them. They couldn't act rashly. Let Wan Jinny attack. With his strength, it wouldn't be a problem to defeat Lin Wudy. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. He didn't use sect origin swords. Instead, he used 9-yang divine body to the extreme. The divine body's power was vast. He was like a sun that emitted endless light. The power of the flames caused the surrounding people to tremble incessantly. The 3,000 Sky Devils also retreated far away. They were also full of confidence. How could their old ancestor be defeated? Buzz! Wan Jinny could feel the aura of his opponent. It became even more terrifying. His eyes were filled with killing intent. He must kill Lin Wudy today. He wouldn't give him any chance to grow. The dragon-slaying sword was slashed out by him. The sword chi surged and turned into endless ribbons, whistling in front. Those late minor saints felt their scalps go numb because they realized that they might not even be able to block a single sword chi. Lin Xian sneered in the face of such a terrifying attack. He flicked his golden palm and slapped forward. Flames flickered on his 5 fingers as if they had turned into a golden crow. He grabbed it forcefully, and the flames evaporated the sword chi. Wan Jinny, is this all you've got? You'll have to cultivate for another 10,000 years if you want to kill me. Was it because you were scared out of your wits in the Green Mountain world and your strength regressed? Lin Xian sneered. While he was talking, he clenched his other hand into a fist and punched forward. Boom! A terrifying aura filled the air. The fist turned into a sun. Even some sacred sovereigns frowned. Lin Wudy was too powerful. His cultivation was 1 realm lower than Wan Jinny, but his combat strength wasn't weak at all. Moreover, He was almost as strong as a sacred sovereign. No wonder his name could be heard in the second star world. He was indeed powerful. Wan Jinni's face darkened. Does he want to fight me in close combat? He knew that Lin Xian's physique was strong. Therefore, he unleashed endless sword qi to block the attack. At the same time, his body swayed and his speed reached the extreme. Myriad ancestral swords, together with his sword skills, could sweep everything away. As expected, the golden fist slowed down when it collided with the endless sword qi. Finally, it stopped in midair. Even the flames on it became dimmer and would be extinguished at any time. Wan Jinni sneered. Lin Wuti was still lacking compared to him. However, his face changed quickly and he was sent flying, because a Tai Chi diagram had appeared above his head without him knowing. The power of Yin and Yang fell. That power could destroy everything. Fortunately, he was fast enough. He dodged in an instant. However, some of the power still hit him and sent him flying. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. The armor formed by the sword qi on his body shattered instantly. Damn it! Wan Jinni's face turned cold. He was too careless. At this moment, Lin Xian suddenly rushed over. His fists were dancing non-stop, as if thousands of suns were exploding in the air. Chapter 41:21. Get lost. Wan Jinni felt a chill run down his spine. Although he had the sect-forming swords and was not afraid of close combat with anyone, that did not include Lin Xian. After many battles, it had been proven that Lin Xian's physique was ridiculously strong. He was not willing to sacrifice himself to such a person. Hence, in an instant, he unleashed countless sword auras, which turned into a sword screen and fell from the sky. Boom, boom, boom. The golden fist hit the sword tomb and made a thunderous sound. The sword screen shook violently and cracks appeared on it. At this moment, Wan Jinni retreated and unleashed 3 more sword auras. These 3 sword auras passed through the sword screen and attacked Lin Xian's vital points. One was between his eyebrows, one was his throat, and one was his heart. Ultimate kill. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a terrifying light. The law of death condensed in his left hand, and the law of sun surrounded his right hand. He struck out with both palms and blocked the 2 sword auras. At the same time, his right leg was like a giant dragon with an extremely sharp sword aura. He kicked out. Boom, boom, boom. 3 thunderous sounds were heard. Wan Jinni's ultimate kill was blocked. When the surrounding people saw this scene, their faces were filled with shock. There was no way they could dodge such a fatal blow. Some of the top experts even thought that they would be seriously injured even if they could dodge it. But now, Lin Xian blocked it with ease. This was really unbelievable. After blocking the 3 ultimate kills, Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light and he roared. He became terrifying again, as if 2 giant dragons were moving between heaven and earth. Boom! A terrifying sound was heard. The sword screen shook violently and then broke apart. A terrifying power swept over like a flood. Wan Jinni's ultimate kill was blocked and he was still in shock. When he felt the power, his face changed drastically. He held his sword in front of him and shook it continuously. Countless law of sword filled the air. He wanted to block it, but he was still forced to retreat. He took dozens of steps back and crushed the void. In the next moment, he spat out a mouthful of blood and his face became extremely pale. He was injured. The surrounding people widened their eyes. Lin Xian could already injure Wan Jinni. Did this mean that his strength was above Wan Jinni's? When they thought of this possibility, they felt like they were going crazy. In such a short time, Lin Wuti not only made it onto the pilgrim list, but his ranking was also getting stronger. Wan Jinni was definitely in the top 3 on the pilgrim list. He even had a chance, but now he was injured. How was this possible? The people on Wan Jinni's side sighed. The 2 holy venerates also showed sullen expressions. Damn it! This exceeded their expectations. However, they said, "Don't worry, Wan Jiani still has a trump card up his sleeve." Wan Jiani's eyes were filled with insanity as his handsome face became somewhat distorted. This time, his death would be a great humiliation. He would not give the other party another chance. Boom, boom, boom. As his voice fell, an extremely terrifying aura spread out from his body. It was enough to destroy the world. As soon as it appeared, it swept through the surrounding area. The surrounding people felt their hair stand on end. They felt their bodies tremble uncontrollably. The 3,000 heavenly demons behind frowned as well. This aura was too unusual. However, they did not make a move. Without the Patriarch's order, they did not dare to make a move. On the other side, the people from Wan Jiani's side sneered. The terrifying destructive aura spread out and quickly formed sword shadows. They spread out in all directions and completely covered the entire space. The destructive sword shadows continued to rotate. Every aura seemed to be filled with boundless power. Far away, a charming figure looked at this scene with a hint of surprise. This was the destruction sword formation. He did not expect Lin Xian to be able to use it, and to such an extent. Did he bring that thing with him? Qin Xianer was really shocked. As expected of Wan Jiani, he still had a powerful trump card. The others also sighed. Lin Wudi was strong, but compared to Wan Jiani, his trump card was still lacking. In the end, Wan Jiani would win this battle. Lin Xian frowned when he sensed the destructive aura. His face turned a little cold. The aura that Wan Jiani was emitting was a great threat to him. To be honest, he did not believe that with Wan Jiani's current strength, he could use such a sword formation. This guy had a rare treasure in his body. He must have brought something with him. It seemed that this was his trump card. It's really powerful. I underestimated you. However, can you fully control this sword formation? Don't be the first to be destroyed before the enemy is destroyed. There were many cases of people being counterattacked by formations and rare treasures. Therefore, once the power of a treasure was beyond one's control, it was a dangerous item. Kid, you dare to underestimate me? I admit that I can't fully exert the power of the destruction sword formation, but it's too easy to kill you. Wan Jiani smiled sinisterly. He quickly formed a seal with his palms. The surrounding destruction sword qi vibrated rapidly, and an extremely terrifying aura spread out. Under this aura, heaven and earth shattered quickly. The surrounding people also frantically retreated. Buzz! Lin Xian waved his hand. 36 heavenly dipper swords quickly appeared and surrounded him. Those swords also emitted an unparalleled aura to resist the destruction sword formation. Kill! Lin Xian too formed a seal with his palms and roared. The 36 swords were surrounded by dragon shadows as if they had turned into giant dragons. 36 dragon shadows rushed between heaven and earth and roared together to resist the surrounding destruction sword qi. Wan Jiani snorted. He waved his arm and a sky full of destruction sword qi rushed over. It was like a storm. The two sword formations collided with each other. Even a sacred venerate frowned in the face of such power. An intense battle broke out. It was unparalleled and even exceeded everyone's imagination. In the end, no one dared to stay in this area. They did not know what the final result would be. Such top-notch geniuses would be able to fight against sacred venerates if they took another step forward. Yes, it would be a great loss if even one of them died. However, such geniuses had become sworn enemies. It was really regrettable. It's useless. You can't resist my destruction, sword qi. Let me show you what destruction is. Wan Jiani smiled sinisterly. Those destruction swords were too terrifying. They could make people despair. However, he soon realized that he did not destroy his opponent. In the endless shattered void, 36 dragon shadows danced between heaven and earth as if they had turned into peerless divine swords. His destructive sword energy was sliced apart. How could it be? Jenny screamed. Chapter 41:22. Could Lin Fan's sword Qi split the destruction sword Qi? What a joke! He had never heard of it before. His eyes were filled with disbelief. This was beyond his understanding. Damn it, this guy had a rare treasure too. Thinking of this, Jenny's face became even gloomier. He must kill Lin Fan. Seeing that Jenny had changed from confidence to exasperation, Lin Xian's lips curled into a sneer. Competing with him with trump cards? Jenny was the one who didn't know what was good for him. Next, I'll let you have a taste of my power. Lin Xian's eyes were filled with unparalleled killing intent. Not only was his swordsmanship strong, but his formations were also terrifying. Moreover, he had obtained a heaven-breaking formation previously. At this moment, he wanted to use the 36 Tiangang swords to break Jenny's sword formation. Lin Xian activated his heavenly secret divine eyes and began to break the formation. The 36 Tiangang swords were like his fingers. They were very agile and kept piercing through the void. It seemed that they were aimless. However, each time they hit the weak points of the formation. This heaven-breaking formation could break so many terrifying formations in the hands of Master Spirit Turtle, let alone in the hands of Lin Xian. Its power would only be stronger than Master Spirit Turtle. Boom, boom, boom. The 36 Tiangang swords were getting faster and faster. In the end, they turned into countless light shadows and danced between heaven and earth. Everyone was dazzled. Just the terrifying energy fluctuation alone was enough to make them unable to get close. If they were inside, they would probably turn into a bloody mist in an instant. Something was wrong. There was something wrong with the situation. Suddenly, someone exclaimed, "What was going on?" The others asked. An old man said, "Sense carefully." The aura of the destruction sword formation was weakening. No way, how was this possible? They all probed. In the next moment, they were all dumbfounded. It was true, the aura of the destruction sword formation was much weaker than before. What was going on? The people of Jinni also noticed this, and their expressions changed drastically. The two sacred venerables frowned. Could it be that the destruction sword formation was broken by Lin Fan? In the battle ahead, Lin Xian said, "I'll destroy your sword formation." Jinni's face. Destruction, sword wave. He roared. Those destructive sword energies suddenly blossomed with incomparable light, and then began to tremble rapidly. Wave after wave of sword waves swept out in all directions. The destructive power of the sword formation suddenly erupted and completely engulfed Lin Xian. Everything in front of him turned into nothingness. The faces of the surrounding people stiffened. Under this kind of attack, Lin Wuti would most likely die, right? Jinni's lips curled into a cold smile when he saw this. So what if the other party was strong? He had finally gotten rid of his opponent. On the other side, when the people of the 10,000 Swords sect saw this scene, they started laughing out maniacally. This was great. Senior brother Wan is mighty. How could that Lin Wuti be mentioned in the same breath as senior brother Wan? Did Lin Wuti lose? In the distance, Qin Xianer frowned when she saw the scene. That was impossible. Suddenly her eyes flashed. As expected, this brat couldn't have been killed so easily. Boom! Amidst the void of destruction, 36 beams of sword light suddenly burst forth and charged out. Lin Xian, surrounded by the Big Dipper sword formation, walked out like a sword god. This move of yours is not bad. If it were other geniuses, they would have been killed already. But it's a pity that this kind of attack can't kill me. A cold voice rang out between heaven and earth. Countless people were stunned. They all turned their heads to look. It was Lin Wuti. He didn't die? These people were really too shocked. Wan Jinny's eyelids were also twitching. You didn't die? Impossible. He was really stunned. Lin Xian said, It's all over. You're the one who lost this battle. He roared, and the 36 swords suddenly enlarged and then quickly merged. The 36 swords turned into a giant sword. Lin Xian held it and split the sky open. Damn it, destruction, sword wave. Wan Jinny once again launched his attack and collided with the 36 golden giant swords. Between heaven and earth, there was a roar. A storm swept across. But this time, the destruction sword wave didn't succeed. Instead, it was mercilessly torn apart. The 36 sword shadows enveloped Wan Jinny. It was too unbelievable. Previously, Wan Jinny almost won, but now he was actually in danger of being killed. Damn it. The people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion were nervous, but the 3,000 heavenly demons sneered. How could their old ancestor lose? Crack, crack, crack. Wan Jinny's face was ugly. He tried his best to resist. However, the destruction sword formation was constantly shattering at this moment. It couldn't be resisted at all. Damn it, I can't accept this. The other party's sword chi was already unstoppable, but it was indeed impossible for the other party to kill him. He was about to be hit by this sword, but at this moment, a crazy light appeared in Wan Jinny's eyes. His eyes turned gray. A sword light flew out from his body and attacked the Heavenly Dipper swords. With a boom, all 36 Heavenly Dipper swords were sent flying. A terrifying aura swept in all directions. Lin Xian was also sent flying by this force. Not good. Retreat quickly. The people in the surroundings were affected as well. Many people didn't have time to escape and their bodies split open. The remaining people were screaming crazily. Damn it, what is this thing? Those people were stunned. The people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion were also stunned. Soon they screamed. The destruction sword, this was the weapon of the Sage King. Senior brother Wan actually brought this weapon here. They were really too shocked. In the distance, Qin Xian Er's pupils shrank. The weapon of the Sage King. Indeed, this was Wan Jinny's trump card. With this thing, even a Sage King couldn't kill him. Kid, you can go to hell to force me to this step. Wan Jinny's black hair fluttered, and his expression was ferocious. With a roar, he communicated with the destruction sword above him. It was a gray long sword. It was incomparably simple, and the destructive aura on it was abnormally terrifying. The destruction sword slashed down, and the sky fell, and the earth cracked. The world was split into two. Lin Xian was enveloped by the sword. Not good. The 3,000 heavenly demons were also not calm at this moment. Damn it, they were moving out crazily. They couldn't let the old ancestor be in danger. However, on the other side, the two sages of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion snorted when they saw the scene. Where are you going? They also led their people to attack. This was their only chance to kill Lin Xian. They definitely wouldn't let the heavenly demons ruin it. Scram! The 3,000 heavenly demons were very strong. They exploded with unparalleled power the moment they attacked. Other than the two sages, the rest of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion were all sent flying. Those who weren't injured spat out blood, while those who were more injured directly turned into a bloody mist. However, they were still stopped for a moment. Although it was only a few seconds, it was enough for Wan Jinny. It was even enough for him to kill Lin Xian several times. Hahadai! Wan Jinny was very excited. His opponent was finally going to die. Chapter 41:23. The Sword of Destruction fell mercilessly. Lin Xian felt that his body was about to split open. This destructive power was really terrifying, as expected of the Saint King's weapon. But so what? A hint of killing intent appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. A long black spear shot out from the ground. He held the great spear of destruction and directly slashed it out. The great dragon's sword soul roared, and there was a dragon's shadow on the great spear of destruction. He waved it with all his strength and collided with the sword of destruction. Boom! 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 The great spear of destruction was a legendary weapon. As it was continuously unsealed, its power was equivalent to a Saint King's weapon. This was the attack of two Saint King's weapons. The power was too strong. The 3,000 heavenly demons retreated, and the people of the 10,000 swords pavilion on the other side were also sent flying. The two sword venerables were both shocked, and their eyes were also filled with shock. However, there was a sneer at the corner of their mouths. With this attack, the other party would definitely die. No, the 3,000 heavenly demons roared, and their eyes turned red. However, they soon realized that something was wrong. Other than the sword of destruction, they also felt an extremely terrifying aura. Moreover, the demonic aura there was monstrous, and it was even more terrifying than the aura of their 3,000 heavenly demons combined. Saint Artifact. Moreover, it was the demon race's Saint Artifact, and it didn't seem to be weaker than the Sword of Destruction. The aura of the Sword of Destruction originally filled the entire world. At this moment, it was gradually suppressed. On the other side, the demonic aura was monstrous, as if the demon ancestor had been resurrected. Damn it. Wan Jian's pupils constricted in disbelief. He didn't expect that the other party would be able to block a certain death situation. Lin Xian's body was surrounded by demonic aura, and his expression was abnormally cold. So the Saint King's weapon was your greatest trump card. However, it was impossible for you to kill me. 3,000 heavenly demons, listen to my order, kill without mercy. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the 3,000 heavenly demons roared crazily. Great, their patriarch was fine. And it seemed that he also had the Saint King's weapons defense. This way, they didn't have to worry. They turned into demonic shadows and rushed forward. Damn it! The people of the 10,000 swords pavilion roared crazily. Although there were quite a few experts on their side, although they had many experts, they didn't have as many people as the 3,000 heavenly demons, so they could only quickly gather together to defend. Run away quickly. The people in the surroundings knew that a chaotic battle was about to break out, and the entire world would be affected. It was better to escape from this place first. Some fled to the edge of the world, while others directly tore through the void. He wanted to flee to the outer realms. In the end, the world was sealed by the Lord, and there was no way to escape. This made them feel despair. The battle became one-sided. The 3,000 heavenly demons were too ferocious, suppressing the 10,000 swords pavilion in an instant. The 10,000 swords pavilion suffered heavy losses. However, these were all terrifying sword saints and two holy venerables. After the initial panic, they quickly adjusted themselves. They combined into many sword formations to resist. However, that was all he could do. He couldn't resist it at all. 10,000 swords won. Come back! The dark sword master roared crazily. Wan Jiani quickly retreated. Lin Xian released a few strands of demonic qi that transformed into black dragons, wanting to keep the other party here. However, they were all stopped by the sword of destruction. Elder Wan Jiani returned to the side of the dark sword master and the others. The dark sword master and the heaven-splitting sword master had grave expressions on their faces. They said that everyone should listen to their orders. They should use the sect origin swords and transfer their strength to the sword of destruction. This was their last hope. Although they weren't sage kings and couldn't completely control the sword of destruction, they could transfer their strength to the sword of destruction. This way they could protect themselves. As expected, these people transferred their strength to the sword of destruction. The sword of destruction trembled nonstop. In fact, the seal that the holy venerables had set up in this world was also broken at this moment. Everyone in the entire Double Rain planet raised their heads and looked into the distance. What a terrifying aura! This was the Sage King's weapon that was awakening, the Sword of Destruction. As the sword slashed down, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. The 3,000 heavenly demons were sent flying, and many of them spat out mouthfuls of blood. All of you come over. Behind them, Lin Xian roared when he saw this scene. This was no longer a battle between sages. This was a battle of foundations and the strength of a group. He wouldn't let the 3,000 heavenly demons die for nothing. After the 3,000 heavenly demons heard the order, they quickly retreated and surrounded Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, "He has the Sage King's sword, and so do we. Give it our strength." Lin Xian took out the Spear of Destruction. The black spear bloomed, and it could break the 9 heavens. When the 3,000 heavenly demons felt the demonic aura, their eyes turned red. Their strength was all given to the Spear of Destruction. When the people on the other side saw this scene, they were also shocked. As expected, the other party also had a Sage King's weapon. No wonder the other party was able to block the Sword of Destruction's attack just now. Why did this aura feel so familiar? Some people frowned. They felt that it was very similar to what they were looking for previously. However, they weren't very sure. After all, the 3,000 heavenly demons might have brought the Sage King's weapon with them. The demonic aura on the spear was monstrous. They couldn't be completely sure, and now was not the time for them to think too much, because the Spear of Destruction had attacked. This attack seemed to be tearing the 9 heavens apart. This attack was really too terrifying. Hurry up and attack. On the side of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion, they worked together to launch a destructive attack. The Spear of Destruction and the Sword of Destruction collided. Boom! The world was collapsing and falling apart. The people below were too weak. They were crushed by this power. The stronger ones also felt their scalps go numb as they fled frantically. This power was too terrifying. At this moment, no one could resist it. After one attack, Lin Xian and the 3,000 heavenly demons retreated. On the other side, the people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion vomited blood. They retreated even further. The 2 Sage Kings and 10,000 Swords Pavilion vomited blood. Some of their bodies even directly cracked and fell into the void. There was no other way. Both sides were sages and Sage King's weapons. However, Lin Xian's side had the advantage in numbers, so the power of recovery was stronger. Damn it. Hurry up and leave. After one attack, the Darkness Sage King and the others instantly controlled the Sword of Destruction again and shot out rays of light. It enveloped them. They didn't attack anymore. Instead, they fled into the distance. Want to leave? Lin Xian roared and attacked. The 3,000 heavenly demons once again poured the power of the laws into their bodies. At the same time, Lin Xian frantically mobilized the power of the world to block. It was another heaven-shaking strike. The Sword of Destruction was hit and kept shaking. Tens of thousands of swords hung down, tearing everything apart. The people inside were once again injured and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. However, it was a Sage King's weapon after all. In an instant, it tore through the void and left. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly and ran quite fast. However, the other party had the Sword of Destruction. It was impossible to completely kill those people. Seriously injuring the other party was already a very good result. Lin Xian quickly descended with the 3,000 heavenly demons. At the same time, he put away the great Spear of Destruction. There was great chaos in the Double Rain planet. The void kept collapsing. Previously, the energy did not disappear. Some people fled frantically. Lin Xian looked at this scene with a solemn expression. Although he had displayed his power this time and forced the 10,000 Swords Pavilion to retreat, it was still not enough. However, he felt that this was not enough. He wanted to let these people know what pain was. Therefore, he decided to set up a trap and let these people fight. Chapter 41:24. Lin Xian planned to release the news again. Then he and the 3,000 heavenly demons would work together to make a fake Saint King weapon. Let these people fight for it. Previously, the collision between the Spear of Destruction and Destruction had made these people realize how terrifying the Saint King weapon was. Once these people heard the news, they would definitely come, regardless of everything. Next, Lin Xian and the 3,000 heavenly demons began to create a fake Saint King weapon. On the other side, Wang Wanjian and the others had escaped from planet Double Rain and came to a nearby world. They landed. After landing, the bodies of the two Saint Kings swayed. Wan Jianni spat out another mouthful of blood. The others wailed in pain. Obviously, although their lives were saved, their injuries were not light. Damn it, they really deserved to die. Wan Jianni kept roaring. Originally, he thought that he could easily kill the other party with the Saint King weapon. Who would have thought that he would make a mistake? Not only did the other party not die, but he also seriously injured them. This piece of news spread like wildfire. So much so that everyone knew that the previous collision was the collision of the Saint King weapon. Was this the weapon of the Saint King? It was only used by the Saint King and the others, and it was already so terrifying. If it was used by the Saint King himself, how terrifying would it be? With a light wave, the entire Double Rain planet would be reduced to ashes, right? Indeed, even if it wasn't the full-strength attack of the Saint King, the collision just now had caused Double Rain planet to be torn apart and shattered. This was still Lin Xian trying his best to control the power of the world and use most of his power in the outer realm starry sky. Otherwise, it would have been even more shattered. No wonder those who use such a weapon would leave the star world and fight in the outer realm starry sky. Because the destructive power was too terrifying. Everyone was cleaning up the mess. Many people were even preparing to return. They felt that this battle was over. In the end, Lin Wudi's side won. However, after that, the news spread again. On Double Rain planet, the aura of the Saint King weapon once again filled the air. This stimulated everyone. Could it be that the treasure hadn't been taken by others yet? That was definitely the case. These people's eyes were red. They quickly went to their families, the holy city. In an instant, they all moved out. Wan Jian Pavilion, Dark Sword Master, and the others also received the news. At this moment, their injuries were more or less healed. After hearing the news, he immediately stood up and left. They decided to go to planet Dual Rain again. Since they had the Sword of Destruction, they believed that their lives would not be in danger. Therefore, he was prepared to go back and risk his life. If he could obtain another Saint King weapon, he would be rich. Buzz, on this day, the Double Rain star was once again cut open by a sword light, and the aura of destruction once again descended upon the earth. It was the aura of the Sword of Destruction. The people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion were back. In the depths of the world, Lin Xian used the power of the world to envelop all of them, concealing their auras. This time they were prepared to sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight. They would not make a move. Sensing the aura of the Sword of Destruction, Lin Xian's lips curled up into a smile. It seemed that humans would die in pursuit of wealth and birds would die in pursuit of food. Despite knowing that there was danger, the people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion still dared to come back. This time, not only did the people from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion come, but the people from the Demon City also came. The strong cultivators also brought Saint King weapons. It was a mirror, the myriad demon mirror. The demonic chi it emitted was incomparable. Not long after, bolts of lightning descended. Following that, a thunder giant appeared. It was indomitable like a thunder god. Countless people knelt on the ground to worship. Some of the strong cultivators from the Demon City were shocked. It seemed that the Thunder God City also brought Saint King weapons. Sure enough, the Thunder God's phantom was a huge battle armor. There were many people standing inside. They were the sages of the Thunder God. They were activating the battle armor, and they were extremely powerful. In the starry sky, a spatial gate appeared. Following that, powerful figures appeared. They had long tails, horns on their heads, and green scales on their bodies emitted a cold light. These were the people of the Green Dragon clan. Their young master was captured and did not return. They finally could not take it anymore. In the end, the immemorial ancient city had no choice but to activate the spatial teleportation array again and use the same coordinates to teleport them. They chased all the way to the vicinity. This time, they must catch the culprit. Damn it, I don't care about the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Since you dare to kill our young master, you will definitely die. These Green Dragon clan experts rushed over aggressively. However, when they arrived near the Double Rain Star, they trembled. Damn it, what was going on in this world? Why was it so terrifying? These sages were terrified. Even the sacred venerables inside felt their hair stand on end. Elder, are we still going to take revenge on the 10,000 Swords Pavilion? These people hesitated. Previously, they had not only obtained the spatial coordinates from the immemorial ancient city lord, but they also received news. The other party knew the 10,000 Sword sect, so it was obvious that he was from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Just as they were hesitating, the people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion and the Double Rain Star heard the news and were instantly enraged. Someone dared to cause trouble for them. They directly shot out a destructive sword chi into the starry sky. The people of the Green Dragon clan were still hesitating, but in the next moment they saw a destructive aura coming toward them. Before it arrived, their bodies were already shattered. They could not take it anymore. Run away quickly. These people of the Green Dragon clan fled crazily, but it was useless. When the sword descended, most of the Green Dragon clan sages were killed. Only a sacred venerate of the Green Dragon clan escaped. Moreover, his body was shattered, leaving only his head behind. It was wrapped in his soul and escaped. His eyes were filled with endless fear and despair. He probably would not dare to mention revenge in his life. Lin Xian felt that it was about time, so he released the fake Sage King weapon that he had created. That was something he had created using countless shards of saint artifacts. Many of these sage artifact fragments were obtained in the Green Mountain realm. Although they were all fragments, their power could not be underestimated. Now that he had combined them, it should be enough to pass off as the real thing. Moreover, even if they were discovered, they would probably be killed until rivers of blood flowed. As expected, when he released this thing, the eyes of the people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion, Thunder God City, and 10,000 Demon City instantly turned red. This is something that the 10,000 Swords Pavilion has taken a fancy to. Scram! The darkness sacred venerate roared. He controlled the sword of destruction and swept it across. No one dared to provoke it. Those who were weak all ran away, and those who were left were not strong enough to fight against the Sage King weapon. Therefore, only those who had the Sage King weapon could compete with it. For example, Lei Shinshin came out. He snorted coldly. If you want the treasure, let's talk with strength. They activated their Thunder God battle armor, forming a huge Thunder God phantom that stood between heaven and earth, resisting the sword of destruction. At the same time, a terrifying demonic chi descended from the sky. Those who were touched by it instantly turned into a bloody mist. Chapter 41:25. The three great holy cities instantly started fighting. Even a powerful faction like the Demon Palace could only retreat at this moment, because if it was a battle between holy venerables, they would not be afraid. However, once it rose to the level of a holy king or even a holy king weapon, they would be helpless. This was the difference in foundation. The battle between the three holy cities was very intense. Lin Xian deliberately let the small cauldron fly into the sky and let these people fight above the 9 heavens. It would be best if they could fight to the outer realm. Otherwise, Double Rain Planet would really be destroyed. At that time, it would be useless for him to take it back. Sure enough, seeing that the small cauldron wanted to fly away, the people of the 3 holy cities also charged out. A great battle broke out in the outer realm. Buzz, everyone is fighting so fiercely that it's difficult to separate. Why don't you give the thing to me? At this moment, a charming voice sounded in the starry sky. Buzz, accompanied by the charming voice, many enchanting people appeared in the surroundings. They worked together to shake the bells on their wrists. At the same time, an even more ancient bell appeared in the sky, and the sound of it rang out. Everyone was enchanted, their blood and chi surging as if they were about to explode. The joyous union bell. Moreover, it was the real joyous union bell. It was a holy king weapon. The joyous union bell in the hands of the other people of the joyous union palace was a replica. The higher the status, the stronger the replica. However, none of them could be stronger than the real holy king weapon. At this moment, when the real joyous union bell appeared, it was truly terrifying to the extreme. As a result, the blood and chi of the people of the 3 holy cities surged. Damn it, they had to defend against the sound wave attack. They did not dare to be careless. If they were not careful, they would probably fall into the trap. At that time, they would die very miserably. Did Qin Xianer also bring the joyous union palace? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Great, this way it would be even more lively. A few days later, another faction arrived, also bringing a holy king weapon. It was a long saber that was very resplendent, as if it was made of gold. There were 9 golden crows engraved on it, as if they were about to ascend. Golden Crow Saber, the holy king weapon of the Golden Crow clan. Obviously, the Golden Crow clan also participated. A great battle broke out. The 5 forces fought until the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. The sun and moon lost their light. Lin Xian did not expect to attract so many holy cities. Therefore, he controlled the small cauldron again and flew into the depths of the universe. The 5 forces also fought into the distance. Along the way, there were some small planets and worlds that were shattered and turned into ashes. One could imagine how powerful it was. This battle startled countless people. Although only 5 forces were participating, the rest of the people were watching the battle closely. They wanted to know who would obtain the treasure in the end. No matter whose hands it landed in, it would definitely allow that faction's strength to increase greatly. The 5 forces fought very miserably. The sky fell and the earth cracked. The news of the battle spread very quickly. Many holy cities were alarmed. Someone from Peerless City had arrived. That was because they had received news from Planet Double Rain that Lin Xian was also here. They were worried about Lin Xian's safety, so they also sent people. This time, it was the first generation's chief disciple, Linghu Chueshua. He did not bring many people with him. There were a total of 5 people. However, these 5 people were all extremely terrifying experts. The 5 of them were all holy venerables. They even carried a weapon of the Holy King. After all, in such a great battle, the weak were not enough. After they arrived, they did not participate in the battle. Instead, they flew towards Planet Double Rain. The people of Planet Double Rain watched the battle in the outer realm from afar. Suddenly, they felt a terrifying aura approaching. Their scalps went numb. Which faction was it? Lin Xian also sensed it immediately. It was his eldest senior brother. He hurriedly rushed forward. Of course, he was wearing the Void Beast skin. After all, he was still hiding in the dark. Senior brother Linghu, it's me. Lin Xian enlarged the Void Beast skin and enveloped Linghu Chueshua and the others. Junior brother Lin, you're here. Are you okay? Linghu Chueshua asked. The other 5 holy venerables were also speechless. Could it be the skin of a void beast? Lin Xian nodded. Everyone, please follow me. He brought Linghu Chuexiue and the others into the depths of the world. Then he gave them a simple explanation of what had happened. After Linghu Chuexiue and the others heard, they were greatly surprised. You're saying that this was a trap set up by you? The other 5 holy venerables were also stunned. They knew that the 5 holy cities were snatching the holy king's weapon. However, they did not expect that the holy king's weapon was actually a fake. Seeing that you're fine, I'm relieved. Master was very worried. Linghu Chuexiue breathed a sigh of relief. His master was naturally the unparalleled holy king. Lin Xian chuckled. Senior brothers, elders, I still have something that I need your help with. Oh, what is it? Just tell me. Lin Xian said that in the end, they will definitely discover that they were deceived. Thus, they might counterattack. Although I'm not afraid of them, my goal is not only that. To be honest, I've already obtained the realm core of planet Double Rain. It's already my world. Thus, this time, I'm going to eliminate all the powers above. I hope that my senior brothers and elders will help me when the time comes. This world is yours. Linghu Chuexiue was too shocked. The 5 elders also sucked in a breath of cold air. Truth be told, ever since they arrived at planet Double Rain, the news about Lin Xian had been more and more astonishing. Especially now they were stunned. Lin Xian actually possessed an entire world. It was truly inconceivable. However, they soon laughed. Very well. Lin Xian was a disciple of their unparalleled city. The stronger Lin Xian was, the stronger their unparalleled city would be. Linghu Chuexiue said, Don't worry, we'll definitely help you with this matter. Whoever dares to go against, you will be going against our unparalleled city. Following that, they also stayed there and secretly watched the battle. Seeing the holy cities fighting so miserably, they were exceptionally happy, because what those people were fighting over was a fake. A few days later, Lin Xian was stunned again. That was because he heard roars in the distance. It was the roar of a dragon. It was the voice of Rizalong. They had actually come as well. Elder, wait. I'm going to pick up 2 friends. Lin Xian was once again carried by the void beast skin. He left Double Rain Star and came to the outer realm. Sure enough, he saw a dragon, a toad, and a little white monkey flying over from afar. Looking at the great battle ahead, they were very excited. Damn, what's going on? Double Rain Star had been destroyed. Where's that brat Lin Xian? Would he be angered to death if he knew? The crimson dragon kept muttering. The toad's mouth was even bigger. Do you think that brat has already been killed? The little white monkey patted him. Impossible. How could it be impossible? He still hadn't appeared. The toad said, Why don't we divide this world? As soon as he finished speaking, he was slapped again. This slap directly sent him flying. Damn, who dares to sneak attack me? Chapter 41:26. Little White squeaked. I didn't use any strength. The dark rainbow dragon also turned around. When he realized that there was no one around, his hair stood on end. At this moment, a voice rang out beside his ear. You guys are like this, talking bad about me behind my back. Are you itching for a beating? F***CK. It's haunted. It's that kid's voice. The dark rainbow dragon jumped up. In the next moment, his eyes widened. Kid, you're using the void beast skin, right? Come out quickly. Lin Xian used the void beast skin to cover them. Then he said, Follow me down and don't make a sound. Kid, you're so careful. Are you up to no good? The crimson dragon knew Lin Xian very well. Lin Xian chuckled and brought them down to meet up with Linghu Chuexiue. The crimson dragon couldn't wait to ask, Kid, how can you tolerate this? Your world has been destroyed. Lin Xian said, Of course I can't tolerate it. Therefore, I'm collecting their holy blood and using their energy to repair this world. Moreover, after this battle, they will definitely be greatly injured. At that time, I might be able to kill a few of them. More importantly, I can completely eliminate them from my world. Lin Xian told him his plan. The Crimson Dragon and the Toad's eyes widened when they heard this. Wow, kid, what a good plan. No wonder you didn't make a move. He. I can't help but want to see their miserable end. Only the Snow-White Monkey yawned in boredom. He came to Lin Xian's shoulder, took out a spirit fruit, and started to eat it. By the way, why did you suddenly come back? Where are the Northern Demon and Black Mountain? Do you know? The Crimson Dragon shook his head. Those two guys aren't with us. As for why they came back, you can ask him. He looked at the Toad. The Toad cried out twice and said, Well, I'll tell you when the matter is over. Lin Xian didn't pay any attention to him and waited silently. This wait lasted for 3 months. This war lasted for 3 months before it slowly came to an end. The 5 forces had all suffered heavy losses. In the end, it was the Golden Crow race's people who seized the treasure. They raised their heads towards the sky and laughed loudly, wanting to escape. In the end, he was hunted down by the other 4 holy cities. Damn it, here's the thing. The people of the Golden Crow race realized that even if they managed to snatch it, they would not be able to swallow it. They could only throw it out. In the other 4 cardinal holy cities, there was a mad scramble. The Sword of Destruction, the Lightning God's Hand, the 10,000 Beasts' Mirror, and the Joyous Union bell struck the tiny cauldron at the same time. The small cauldron was a fake to begin with. It had been holding on for such a long time that it could no longer hold on. Therefore, it exploded with a boom. For a moment, the people of the 5 great holy cities were stunned. What's going on? Was it broken material? How could this be? They were fighting over the Saint King's weapon. How could it be broken? Damn it, you actually used a fake to trick us. The people of the Demon City instantly froze the Golden Crow clan. The Thunder God and the people from Joyful Union Palace had also come here for the sake of coming up. The Golden Crow race's people were about to cry. Damn it, what fake? This was the real one. Damn it, we were deceived. What do you mean by deceived? It was clearly you who obtained the real Saint King's weapon. What? Do you think we are idiots? Attack! These people attacked crazily. The Golden Crow race was extremely miserable. There was nothing they could do. Although they also had the Saint King's weapon, they could not hold on at all when fighting 1 against 4. Therefore, they quickly begged for mercy. Stop! I can let you see the storage rings. Every storage ring was their secret. Now that they were allowed to see it, it was simply a great humiliation. However, in order to survive, the people of the Golden Crow race could no longer care so much. After the people of the 4 great holy cities looked at the storage rings, their faces turned cold. As expected, it was not there. Could it be that they had been deceived? Let's go and take a look. The people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion charged back. Lei Shencheng and the people of the Demon City also returned. The people of the Golden Crow race had long been seriously injured. If they had not begged for mercy in the end, they would have almost been killed. Now they were going back. What a joke! They would remember this grudge. With a sway of their bodies, they rode the Golden Crow sabers and left. The remaining people of the Acacia Palace also sighed. It seemed that they had been fooled. Forget it, this matter would end here. Would the person who could plot against them be weak? After fighting for 3 months, they were already exhausted. If they went now, they could at most protect themselves. It would be very difficult for them to defeat the other party. Therefore, Qin Xianer and the others also left. Only the 3 great holy cities of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion charged back. The people of the Double Rain planet were originally waiting. They wanted to know what the final result would be. In the end, a few months later, the 3 great holy cities came at the same time. Where was the item? It was in this world. Even if the world was turned upside down and destroyed, they had to find it. The eyes of the people of the three great holy cities turned red. Lin Xian stood up, the corner of his mouth raised into a cold smile. Very good, it was time for them to appear. In the sky, the thunder god's phantom swept in all directions. The myriad demon mirror enveloped the entire world. The sword of destruction kept falling. Each strike wanted to split heaven and earth. However, at this time, two terrifying auras spread out and blocked the attacks of the three Saint King's weapons. At the same time, figures flew out from the depths of the earth. There were still people in the world. The people of the Double Rain planet were shocked. Some of the people who had escaped to the outer realm were also watching from the ninth heaven. Even the people of the three great holy cities were stunned. There were actually people. Were they the ones who took those things away? These people all looked over. In the next moment, they were stunned. Lin Wudi, the faces of the people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion instantly turned ugly. The people of the other two great holy cities also snorted coldly. They all had enmity with Lin Wudi. Kid, it's you. Go to hell. These experts of the Thunder God City instantly surrounded the Thunder God battle armor and slapped out with the Thunder God palm. One of his palms was empty, but it was filled with boundless lightning. Wow! The Crimson Dragon and the Toad were shocked. Even Little White kept blinking. The power of the Saint King's weapon could definitely threaten them. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Come out. He instantly released the 3,000 heavenly demons again. Together with him, they used the great spear of destruction and rushed up. With a clang, the Thunder God's palm was sent flying and even directly penetrated. Lin Xian's body was overflowing with demonic energy. The 3,000 demonic shadows behind him bloomed with radiance. They were not inferior to the Thunder God's phantom at all. Damn it, he blocked it. The people of the Thunder God were stunned. The people of the 1,000 Demon City were also stunned. The people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion had ugly expressions. Did the other party also have a Saint King's weapon in his hand? The people of the Thunder God frowned. On the other hand, Lin Xian chuckled. You want to make a move on me? Haven't you heard about how I beat the 10,000 Swords Pavilion back then? The people of the two great holy cities gasped and looked at the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. In the end, they found that the people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion did not refute. This shocked them even more. These sword saints were actually at a disadvantage in the hands of Lin Xian. Chapter 41:27. Damned brat. Speak. Where's the item? Did you take it away? The people from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion roared. When the people from the Thunder God City and the 1,000 Demon City heard those words, their expressions changed. That's right. How could he have the weapon of a Sage King? Lin Xian coldly snorted. He stood out and said, What is it? Let me tell you, this is my world. Everything in this world belongs to me. I will take whatever I want. You dare to behave atrociously in my world? Did you ask for my permission first? After saying those words, Lin Xian stomped his foot. Immediately, the entire world started to shake violently. The shattered mountains and rivers and the cracked earth started to heal rapidly. The blood on the ground started to melt rapidly. The energy on the ground was absorbed by the energy of the world. What was going on? The surrounding people were all stupefied. The people from the three holy cities were also stupefied. This was the other party's world? What kind of joke was this? Wasn't this the Rain Clan's world? However, when they saw that the world around them had recovered, they were completely stupefied. Could it be that the other party was really the master of this world? You've obtained the heart of the world. The people from the three holy cities screamed. In the outer realm, when the people from the demon palace saw this scene, they vomited a mouthful of blood. They had searched for so many years. Never did they expect that this world already had a master. This news shocked everyone. They did not dare to believe it. The people from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion and the 3 holy cities gnashed their teeth. Were they going to leave just like that? To be honest, they were unwilling to accept this. Brat, even if this is your world, so what? Did you think that you could contend against the 3 holy cities? The people from the Thunder God City walked over and controlled the Thunder God Phantasm. They were extremely powerful. Right, that's right. On the other side, the people from the 1,000 Demon City also controlled the 1,000 Demon Mirror and joined hands to capture him. The 10,000 Swords Pavilion also walked over. The 3 sides pressed down. An entire world started to tremble again. Everyone held their breaths. Lin Xian coldly snorted. He and the 3,000 heavenly demons controlled the Great Destruction spear at the same time. On the other side, Linghu Chueshua walked over with the 5 holy venerables. What? Are you trying to bully the 5 of us? After saying those words, Linghu Chueshua also waved his hand, and a cold ray of light flew out. It was a sword light that swept across the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Its power was not any weaker than the Sword of Destruction. Everyone cried out in alarm. This was the unparalleled sword. The real unparalleled sword. In Lin Xian's hands there was a replica of the matchless sword, which was a very terrifying saint artifact. The true unparalleled sword was the weapon of a saint king. At that moment, being unleashed by Linghu Chueshua and the 5 holy exalteds, their might was extremely powerful. If you're not convinced, you can come and fight. Lin Xian took a step forward, and the aura on his body exploded. Although it was 2 against 3, he was not afraid. That was because they had the advantage in numbers. More importantly, they were all in peak condition. As for the 3 great holy cities, they had experienced 3 months of war. He was already exhausted, unable to bring out much of his strength. Boom! Lin Xian attacked forcefully, not giving the 3 holy cities any time to think. On the other side, Linghu Chueshua also rushed over with his men. The great battle broke out again. In an instant, they fought in the outer space. Everyone was terrified and speculated. The people of the 3 great holy cities were originally disdainful, but after fighting for a short while, they collapsed. Damn it, they had used up too much of their strength. If they continued fighting now, they would not be able to control the Saint King's weapon. Go! These people wanted to leave, but how could Lin Xian let them go? On the other side, Linghu Chueshua also attacked crazily. The people of the 3 great holy cities screamed again and again. Many people were directly killed. In the outer space, blood dyed the universe. That desolate aura made everyone's hair stand on end. He was too strong. At this moment, Lin Wudi had truly risen. Damn it, just you wait. This matter is not over. In the end, the holy exalteds of the 3 great holy cities fled with a few people, leaving behind a large number of corpses and blood. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. He stepped forward, and his loud voice spread throughout the world and the universe's starry sky. From now on, Double Rain Planet is my world. Whoever dares to behave atrociously here, I will definitely tear him into pieces. No matter where he escapes to, I will not let him go. His voice carried endless killing power and monstrous demonic aura, making people's scalps tingle. On the other side, Linghu Chueshua also spoke coldly. Lin Xian is a warrior of my Wushuang city. Whoever goes against him is challenging my Wushuang city. My Wushuang city will accompany him to the end. One Lin Xian was already so strong, let alone Wushuang city who was on his side. More importantly, the people of the Sky Fiend clan were also inextricably linked to Lin Xian. This was equivalent to having 2 great holy cities behind him. This force was too strong. Sure enough, after hearing those words, the people that were still present all began to flee. They probably would not dare to come back in this lifetime. Lin Xian gave these people one day to leave as soon as possible. A day later, there was no one else on Double Rain Planet. Lin Xian and the others landed. Things are almost done. Do you want to go back with me? Linghu Chueshua asked. Lin Xian said, I still have some things to take care of here. I'm afraid I can't go back to this world for the time being. Well, if you have any problems outside, just tell Wushuang City. Wushuang City will always be on your side. After chatting for a while, Linghu Chueshua and the 5 great holy venerables left. On the other side, Lin Xian also let the 3,000 sky fiends leave. Only he, the Crimson Dragon, and the others were left. The next step was to repair this world. It was not a simple matter, but fortunately, there was a lot of saints' blood around. If used slightly, the world could be repaired. However, Double Rain Planet would probably carry a layer of blood aura from now on. It would become a dangerous place. For example, the Purgatory Planet from before was filled with bloodlight. Ordinary people could not come here at all. But after thinking about it, he felt that it was good. This way, it would cut off those people's thoughts. In the following days, Lin Xian began to repair this world. He joined forces with the Crimson Dragon and set up many formations on Double Rain Planet, allowing these formations to automatically absorb power and repair. This way, he did not have to stay here all the time. At the same time, he also opened up some entrances. This was to allow some weak cultivators to come in and live here. After all, what he wanted was not a desolate world. It would be best if there were humans or beasts living on it. Lin Xian did not need to worry about this. Some people from other worlds would definitely come over. However, Lin Xian would strictly control it. For now, there was no need for those above the Saint Realm to come. He only recruited those below the Saint Realm. In the end, he found by Qian. Qian, I'm afraid you won't be able to return to the White Crane clan for the time being because of the Green Flood Dragon clan. However, it's very dangerous for you to follow me. Why don't you stay on Double Rain Planet for the time being? I'm the master of this world. I can give you some power so that you can temporarily manage this world. Chapter 41:28. All right. Bai Qian also knew that with his strength, he wouldn't be able to help Lin Xian. Following by his side would also be a burden. She couldn't return to her family, so she might as well stay here and help Lin Xian take care of this world. It could be considered a connection between the two of them. Perhaps in the future, they would be able to meet often. Therefore, Bai Qian nodded and agreed. Next, through Lin Xian, she controlled some of the power of this world and could mobilize the power of the world to manage it. For example, she could use some divine punishment, tsunamis, storms, and so on. In addition, although her strength wasn't as good as Lin Xian's, she was still a saint. Currently, it was very safe here. At the same time, Lin Xian also left a message for her to pay attention to a woman called Yu Shijia. If the other party came here and was willing, he could let the other party manage this world together. In response, Bai Qian nodded obediently. Then Lin Xian found the toad and the others and said, Tell me, what's going on with you guys? Kid, are you done with your side? The toad couldn't wait any longer. If you're done, come with us. I'll bring you to a good place. Good place? Where to? Lin Xian was suspicious. Were these guys so kind? The toad felt guilty. What's wrong, kid? Are you doubting me? Lin Xian nodded. I don't think you're that kind. F***CK. The toad was so angry that he vomited blood. Old dragon, Xiaobai, tell me, did I lie to him? He was really mad. The Crimson Dragon stood up, smiled awkwardly, and said, This guy did know of an incredible place. Xiaobai also nodded. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. Oh, so you guys are returning with a full load this time? What treasures did you get? Tell me. Hearing this, the 3 fellows' faces fell. Yeah, don't mention it. We didn't get it at all. Xiaobai hung his head dejectedly. The Crimson Dragon also said, "Aya, that place is too strange. We can't enter and can only watch from the outside." Lin Xian rolled his eyes when he heard that. "That's why you thought of me, right? Brat, what are you talking about? Do you think I'll trick you? I'm giving you a chance to make a fortune, do you understand?" The toad jumped out and said, "What do you think? Are you willing to go? If you're not willing, then I'll go to Black Mountain." "All right, you can go now." Lin Xian waved his hand. The toad was stunned, and the Crimson Dragon winked at him. The toad pounced at Lin Xian's feet and hugged Lin Xian's leg tightly. "Brat, who knows where the Black Mountain old ghost has gone? You're the only one left now. I can't help you. My attainments in formations are only on par with Roussillon's. If he can't solve it, do you think I can?" These words were indeed correct. "All right, stop messing around." The Crimson Dragon walked over and said, "Kid, that place really has an unusual aura. We suspect that it's a treasure, and it hasn't been explored yet. It's just that the formations there are unusual. This time, we're looking for you because we want to borrow the power of the great dragon sword spirit." Lin Xian also stopped smiling. He asked, "Can't you get Whitey's treasure bowl from outside?" Whitey said, "I'm so angry that I can't get it." "All right, then I'll prepare." Lin Xian also stopped messing around. Since there was a treasure, he naturally had to explore it, because the further he went, the more dangerous it would be. He was now a mid-stage minor saint, and he had already fought a few battles with Saint King weapons. If he went further, the real Saint Kings would probably jump out. He had to quickly improve to be able to protect himself. Moreover, there was an even more hidden danger, and that was the power behind the bronze messenger. Who knew when it would jump out? All right, you guys probably didn't get anything, right? However, I got some benefits, and I'll share them with you. Lin Xian waved his hand and took out the treasures that he had robbed from the sacred venerables in the Green Mountain world. "Whitey, this is for you." Lin Xian took out a pile of spirit fruits. These were all 10,000-year-old spirit fruits, and there were even 20,000-year-old ones. After all, how could the treasures of sacred venerables be weak? Whitey's eyes lit up after seeing it. The toad also laid down, but it was sent flying by Lin Xian with a slap. "Don't snatch it. There's something specially for you." "Is that so? You even prepared something for me? Kid, you're too good. I love you to death." The toad was excited. The Crimson Dragon also couldn't wait. Lin Xian took out the demon saint's heart, and it was beating vigorously. "How is this thing? What a strong demon chi! What a rich energy!" The Crimson Dragon and the toad's eyes turned red. "This is good stuff." The two of them hugged it and didn't let go. Lin Xian said, "There's another thing. Take a look at this." He gave the jade slip to Roussillon. Roussillon probed with his soul, and the toad also looked at it. It went in, but soon came out. He wasn't interested in array formations. The Crimson Dragon was excited. "Heaven-breaking array Dao? You can even get this thing." He was too excited. "Get ready, we'll set off in 3 days." Lin Xian waved his hand. 3 days later, they boarded the Black Earth and bid farewell to Bai Qianshan. Lin Xian also left a few sacred artifacts for Bai Qianshan. Also, there were enough cultivation resources. He left the matters here to the other party. Lin Xian and the other two boarded a spirit ship and left planet Double Rain. At the same time, the news had already spread. After all, such an earth-shattering battle had happened on planet Double Rain. No one paid attention to it. However, the final result was shocking. The people from the 5 holy cities were all defeated. This was impossible. The 5 holy cities had sent holy venerables, and there was more than one of them. More importantly, they had taken the weapons of the holy kings, but they were still defeated. Who was it? Could it be that the real holy kings had made a move? No, the 5 holy lands were fighting among themselves over fake weapons and were tricked. Who was the one who arranged such a shocking scene? It was Linwoody. Linwoody? Could it be that young genius Linwoody? That's right, it was him. It couldn't be. Although he was strong, he was only competing among the younger generation. Could he already contend with those holy venerables? What did you know? That Linwoody had summoned 3,000 heavenly demons, and he was very powerful. What was even more terrifying was that he had the holy king weapon of the heavenly demons in his hands. Its power was incomparably terrifying. Moreover, the chief disciple of Peerless City, Linghu Chueshue, had brought 5 holy venerables and the peerless sword. They sat on the mountain and watched the tigers fight. In the end, they defeated the 3 holy cities in peak condition. There was even more shocking news. Planet Double Rain was actually that Linwoody's. Had he obtained the heart of the world? And it seemed that he had obtained it long ago. Screams and discussions sounded. At this moment, everyone in the universe was boiling. Ever since the Rain Clan was destroyed, Planet Double Rain had become the prey in the eyes of countless people. Those powerful saints all wanted to take it for themselves. Chapter 41:29. There were too many benefits to owning a world. Not only could he enjoy enough resources, but he could also use the power of the world to cultivate sacred weapons. More importantly, he could also use the power of the world to strengthen himself in future battles. His combat strength would soar. Now, such a world was actually obtained by a young man. The demon palace vomited blood the most. However, there was no other way. With the Sky Fiend race and Peerless City behind him, Lin Xian was not afraid of any of the sacred cities at all. And those sacred cities were obviously not willing to completely fall out with each other for a world. Lin Xian was unaware of all the noise. At this moment, he was sitting cross-legged in the black earth, silently cultivating. There were piles of heaven and earth treasures around him, providing him with enough energy. Whitey was the same. After eating those 10,000-year-old spirit fruits, its little belly was round. On the other side, the toad was also rapidly absorbing the blood of the demon saint from the crimson dragon to strengthen itself. The crimson dragon was also studying the heaven-breaking array path to improve the power of its array. Just like that, they shuttled through the void of the universe. More than half a year had passed. On this day, Lin Xian opened his eyes and frowned slightly. He asked, "Haven't we arrived yet?" Where are these guys going? Their current speed was extremely fast, and they could travel through the endless void in the blink of an eye. Now, more than half a year had passed, and they still hadn't arrived at their destination. This place was too remote. Are these guys reliable? A cold voice came from the side. Lin Xian looked over and smiled. The cold beauty was naturally Morong Qingqing. Previously, he had made a trip to the Kunlun Pavilion and sent a message to Morong Qingqing, asking if she was willing to go. Morong Qingqing had nothing to do, so she wanted to go and explore. So she followed him. "Kid, how could I be wrong? Trust me, we'll definitely arrive in 10 days. If we can't, I'll give you my head." "What's the use of your head? Your toad can't be eaten." Lin Xian attacked from the side. "Damn, let me tell you, I have the bloodline of a divine beast." The toad was so angry that it vomited blood. Just like that, they flew for another 10 days. Sure enough, he saw a star in front of him. However, that star was too dark. It was actually covered by an endless amount of vegetation. It could be seen from afar. Heavens, are there still people living here? Lin Xian was surprised. This couldn't be a dead world, right? Morong Qingqing also stood up and frowned slightly. She hugged Little White and said, "Indeed, he couldn't sense any signs of life. There was no need to sense it. The most important thing in this world of stars was not the stars, but the vegetation on them." The toad was the first to jump out. The crimson dragon waved his hand, and the boy followed. Lin Xian held Morong Qingqing's hand, and the two of them flew out. After the group flew out, Lin Xian put away the black earth and looked ahead. He realized that the vines in this world had formed many gourds. The auras emitted by those gourds were very unusual. Could it be that these gourds were a demonic beast? Hurry up and find the 9,999th gourd. That's where we're looking for. As the toad flew, it searched. Soon it said, "It's here." They had already been here once, so they were familiar with the place. Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing followed behind. They arrived in front of the 9,999th gourd. It was a purple gourd. It looked darker than the others from the outside, but there was nothing special about it. Lin Xian asked, "What's the use of this gourd? Could it be a treasure? Then I'll help you cut it down." Lin Xian had seen the yellow spring gourd before. Could it be that this gourd was also born from heaven and earth? Sacred artifact? "Kid, don't mess around." The toad screamed. Then it said, "Watch me." He stepped forward and pulled out the lid of the gourd. Immediately, a mysterious aura flowed out. Murong Qingqing's expression was solemn, and the phantom of a phoenix appeared on her body. Lin Xian also activated his 9-yang divine body. He felt a sense of danger that made his hair stand on end. "Did you see that, kid? I didn't lie to you." The toad also took a few steps back. He pointed at the gourd and said, "The thing is inside the gourd. We have to think of a way to get in. All right, all of you come over here." Lin Xian summoned them to his side and then activated the great dragon sword soul. It covered them and made them lose their strength to the great dragon's sword soul. They didn't dare to delay and activated the great dragon's sword soul with all their strength. It was as if it had come to life. Boom! A dragon-shaped sword shadow wrapped around them and rushed into the gourd. Sure enough, when they wanted to enter, they were obstructed. However, the great dragon sword soul was too special. So in an instant, it cut through everything and rushed in. However, the deeper they went, the slower they got. In the end, the speed was very slow. It took them a full 5 days to break through and enter the gourd. They didn't know that when they entered, there was another spirit ship in the void. It was quickly flying towards them. It seemed that its target was also this world. Soon, the gourd stopped and 5 figures walked out. They were all young men and women. They looked at the vines in front of them that were filled with gourds and smiled. It seemed that this should be the place. According to the news, there was only one magical world inside these gourds. Find it quickly. These people searched quickly. Not long after, a woman in a green dress screamed, "Come quickly! This gourd is not from Class 1. The other 4 people rushed over in an instant. They stared ahead and frowned. The lid of the gourd was opened. Could it be that someone had entered? That's impossible. A dark-skinned young man frowned. Other than us, who else knows about this place? Could it be that the Saint King had appeared? The few of them frowned. One of them said, "Impossible. Someone should have discovered it by chance. I don't think he can enter with his strength. Perhaps he has already died inside. Let's hurry up and leave." At this point, the 5 of them also took out the array formation. It seemed that they knew how to break this array formation. Inside the gourd, the figures of Lin Xian and the others appeared. They looked around curiously. There was a world inside the gourd. It looked incomparably vast. It was really too magical. Great, we're in. We're finally in. The toad was incomparably excited. The crimson dragon was also jumping wildly in excitement. Murong Qingqing took a deep breath, because when he looked up, he saw a mountain of bones in front of him. That was actually not a mountain, but a bone. However, it was too big like a mountain. The flesh on it had long been gone. Even the blood was gone. There were only some cracks all over it. However, the remnant aura still made people feel oppressed. They didn't know how powerful the skeleton was when it was alive. At this moment, it had died here. Chapter 41:30. Let's go. They walked forward. Along the way, they saw many such bones. Finally, they saw a mountain in front of them. That mountain was very special. It was as if a dragon and a tiger were coiled together. It was very strange. Moreover, the aura on it was even more terrifying. Lin Xian even saw through the heavenly secret divine eye. He saw that there were traces of blood on the steps of this mountain, and the blood was from who knows how many tens of thousands of years ago. However, the aura on it was still incomparably terrifying. Murong Qingqing and the others all activated their defenses. Lin Xian also activated his 9-yang divine body. He frowned slightly. What were they waiting for? Hurry up! The toad and the crimson dragon took the lead and rushed out. The toad jumped high, wanting to jump directly onto the mountain. The dark rainbow divine dragon swung its tail. The two of them were very fast. However, in an instant they were bounced back. Puff! Ah! 2 screams sounded. The two of them rolled down the mountain and even spat out a mouthful of blood. They were injured. Lin Xian was surprised. He used the law of wood to heal the two of them. At the same time he asked, "Are you okay?" "Don't move. This place is not ordinary." Damn it, they actually want to be so strong. They were actually injured. The crimson dragon was stunned. He was a divine dragon. How strong was his physique? But at this moment he was actually injured. On the other side, the toad was also scratching its ears and cheeks anxiously. However, it did not dare to act rashly anymore. Let's take one step at a time. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian pulled Murong Qingqing and walked forward. When they walked up the first step, they felt a huge pressure. It seemed that the higher they went, the greater the pressure. The two of them walked up 5 steps in a row. Murong Qingqing stopped. She said, "Look, these steps." Lin Xian also looked carefully. He found that the material of these steps was neither gold nor stone. Instead, it looked like a kind of jade. There were even some great Tao runes carved on it. Murong Qingqing found that some places were even inlaid with divine crystals. Moreover, it was an extremely precious divine crystal. It had existed for tens of thousands of years. The grade of this divine crystal was too high. He had never seen it before. Murong Qingqing was overjoyed. She waved her jade-like hand, and the phantom of a phoenix attacked. She wanted to grab the divine crystal. It took him a lot of effort to dig out one. The crimson dragon and the others' eyes also turned red as they started eating. They began to knock and knock. Lin Xian took out the great destruction spear and started hammering it with a sacred artifact. He wondered what kind of expression the great demon clan's people would have when they saw their legendary, holy weapon being used as a shovel. Just like that, they dug for treasures as they walked up the mountain. Sometimes he would even stop to comprehend the great Tao. Everywhere he went, he left behind a mess. At the same time, the 5 mysterious men and women walked in. They heaved a sigh of relief. They didn't expect the entrance to be so difficult. What a surprise! The 2 women wiped their fragrant sweat and said, "It was nothing. It was expected that the entrance would be difficult. There shouldn't be that much danger inside, right?" They also looked around. This place was indeed not ordinary. It couldn't be the legendary place. "Let's go." The 5 of them took out pills and swallowed them to recover their strength. At the same time, they moved quickly. Soon they passed through the huge white bones and came to the front. They saw a mountain that was shaped like a dragon and a tiger. "Let's go." They carefully went up. When they took a few steps, they frowned. "Why do I feel that someone has been here? Look, there are traces of being pried open, and they are very fresh. There should have been a supreme grade, divine crystal here before. Had it been dug out by someone?" The corners of their mouths twitched. Who was it? It was too much of a robber. How could the things that paved the way be pried open? Could it be that a group of ferocious robbers had come? A purple-clothed young man snorted coldly. "What fools! It seemed that they didn't know what the treasures here were. Let's go up. We can't let them destroy anymore. If they trigger some array formation, we will be in trouble. The few of them increased their speed. At the same time, on the mountain, Lin Xian was still busy. The Crimson Dragon and the others stopped. They revealed suspicious expressions. Why did I hear the sound of something breaking through the air? Me too, Morong Qingqing asked. Brother Xian, you should investigate. Let's do it. Lin Xian nodded. His heavenly secret divine eyes scanned the surroundings. This place was extremely mysterious. They seemed to feel a sense of oppression and were unable to fully unfold their souls. Lin Xian's heavenly secret divine eyes were much stronger than theirs. In the next moment, Lin Xian frowned. Be careful. Someone actually came. What? That's impossible. No one else knows about this place except me. The toad had a look of disbelief. However, they knew that Lin Xian wouldn't be wrong. Sure enough, not long after they discovered it, 5 figures appeared on the mountain path below them. The auras of the 5 of them were extraordinary, and they were very young. From the looks of it, they should be young geniuses. They didn't know which holy city they were from. Lin Xian frowned. He had seen most of the people in the holy city, so he could recognize them through some of their auras. However, the auras of these 5 people stunned him. He couldn't tell. The 5 people below naturally saw Lin Xian and the others above as well. When they saw a snake and a toad holding holy armaments and frantically smashing the ground, they were shocked to see a snake and a toad. The corners of the 5 people's mouths twitched, and their eyes almost popped out. As expected, they were low-level trash ants. Their eyes were filled with disdain. When they swept their gazes over again, the disdain in their eyes became even stronger when they saw Lin Xian. There was another ant. From the looks of it, it didn't seem like much. He was also trash. When they saw a woman in white standing beside Lin Xian, they were stunned, especially the 3 youths. Their eyes shone with a shocking light, a beauty and a peerless beauty. They didn't expect to see such a fairy here. What a surprise! The other 2 women snorted coldly. They were obviously very jealous of the other party's appearance. Sensing the gazes of those people, Morong Qingqing snorted coldly. There was a hint of disgust in her cold eyes. The youths looked away and smiled awkwardly. Soon they walked up to her. I didn't expect to meet other people here apart from us. And it's such a beautiful fairy. I'm really lucky. I'm Lu Qingfeng. How should I address you, fairy? Morong Qingqing ignored such people. She held Lin Xian's arm. The expressions of the 2 men behind also changed. What was going on? In their opinion, Lin Xian should be Morong Qingqing's servant. However, the actions of the 2 made them realize that was not the case. They were a couple. How could it be? What did this kid do to have such a beautiful Dao partner? They wanted to snatch her away. There was a hint of madness in those people's hearts. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.